Well, welcome to the Stone Roadie podcast. It's the one you don't want to miss. It stars Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, and Griff, the rocket scientist. Let's not forget Kathy Godsey and all the old friends that come along. Lord, we'll be talking Skinnard and leaving you with a song.
Rise and shine, everybody. It's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
The Stone Roadie Show, podcast 223, Wake and Bake, The Morning Buzz, episode 100. Action. Alrighty then, fellow Earthlings, looky here, looky here. It's episode number 100 of the Wake and Bake, the Morning Buzz. And my name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie, also known as the world's most famous roadie ever since the dinosaurs roamed this flat, fat earth. And with me today, as usual, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. But before I ask Griff to take over to this morning, and by the way, it's Monday morning, and it's September the 23rd, 2024. And we've only been doing these wake and bakes for, oh man, like 4 months, and we're already up to 100. So yeah, we're moving right along. And as y'all know, we took a week off, and man, people were jonesing out for the Stone Roadie show.
Yeah, it's more than a week, I think.
Yeah, got a lot of comments. Me and Kathy Godsey did one the other day. But I'm going to quit jibber-jabbering here. But before I hand it over to Griff, I just want to acknowledge a couple of donations we got last week. We got them before we took a little break. So, yeah, Chris Eldridge sent in another $50. Actually, I think he sent in $60. Actually, this is the wrong sheet. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I did. I must have been stoned when I print that up. But no, Chris, I know you sent in another $60, and you're up to well, it's more than that. Anyways, I printed out the wrong sheet. I don't know. It's been a week. I had to find these. I don't think I've mentioned these yet. And James Smith, yeah, he sent in $25. Yeah, and I got marked on there July 19th. So yeah, that was last week, wasn't it?
Well, that's pretty cool. Getting donations still, and
yeah,
thanks a lot for that, James and Chris.
Yeah, Chris, and Chris, he's well, I'm gonna send him a few of those Lynyrd Skynyrd stickers that we sell. We still sell those. I just haven't been mentioning them. They're $25 if you want one of those stickers. I'll show one here in a little bit. But yeah, he's got a bunch of guitars. He bought one of those Explorers off of Brandon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been playing it. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, but yeah. So there's our acknowledgement for those donations. So yeah, you had quite a trip out there in Oklahoma, didn't you, Griff?
Yeah, that was a fast run up there and a fast run back, and then I was worried something bad was going to happen, like an EMP or some kind of a bird flu or something. And then sure as shit, on the way back, I heard they shot at my president. Well, they were going to try to shoot at him, but didn't happen. So yeah, I was worried about something. If they would have hit him, there probably would have been riots all the way home, But thank God that didn't happen, and I made it back safe. But it was a good trip. And Greg, what did you do, man? Did you make any headway on the mailing out the shit or?
Yeah, I did some. I talked the other day about getting the envelopes so that I could send everything out, and on Amazon, some of their descriptions on what you're buying isn't quite what you're buying, and I bought these really cool envelopes to send out, but when they got here, it was like you had to put them all together yourself. They were,
Yeah,
you had
that's
to
why I get
fold,
mine at Walmart.
you had to fold them and everything. So
Oh,
yeah, I had
damn.
to send those back and get some other envelopes. But yeah, I'm working on it. I've got some new toys here, so that's my excuse. Robert Wheatley sent me all those drones with it. Then he sent me the goggles to go with them, so I can look through the goggles and see what I'm flying. But I just kind of learned how to do
Well,
that.
we're gonna have to take another vacation so you can work on it some more. Because you were supposed to find the tackle box and start mailing out some shit.
Oh, I'm going to. I promised everybody I would this week, and I gotta send. There's a lot of
Well,
stuff.
Craig, you don't get an F, but you get a D minus.
Well, this is, I'm retired and I'm just doing this, it's just part of the podcast thing, but I didn't really sign up to do that. Yeah,
Well,
if somebody suggested I need a secretary, I probably do, but no,
there's there's yeah, there's a couple people that have offered to come help. And
yeah.
I told him, I said, you do not want to help Craig when he's got things set up a certain way. He likes to do things a certain way, and all you're going to do is piss him off. I said, but that's a nice gesture, but Craig don't want any help.
No, I got lack of motivation these days. I don't know. There's a
But
lot of things I could do. I could, I could, people want me to release those films I got, but I just, it's just, I'm just having fun, just, being me.
well, one of these days you'll get to it, I hope.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I have a busy life. I talk on the phone to about to 5 or 10 different fans every day. I don't know how everybody gets my number. It's out there pretty openly, I guess. But I get for calls all over the time, But I don't mind it. I
Well,
talk.
this is going to be a long podcast, so we're not going to be doing a whole lot of jibber jabbering because I've got 2 hours and 6 minutes worth of Steve Gaines footage. And if anybody was wanting Steve Gaines skin formation, then you better stick around. And I didn't do a part one, part two because I thought it would suck to have to wait for part two. So we're going to put it all on one podcast, and you're going to have to watch it when you get home if you're on your way to work because you're not going to be able to listen to it and get anything out of it. I mean, you could, but it's got too much visual in it. So, but it was a great trip up there, Craig, and then uh, yeah, the jacket, um, Cassie's jacket. I had him pull that thing off the display there so we could see the name tag on it, and it looks like it's a questionable by the Stone Roadie because he said that those names were embroidered on the jacket. So that's got like a patch
In
with their name
cursive,
on it.
yeah, yeah. They
Yeah.
all were in cursive, yeah. All the names. It would have
And
said.
then also Carter Clemens sent me a video, which I'm going to air. We're going to air that on Wednesday of the pedal steel, and this is for cousin Figel. That guy was talking. I guess he's the curator of the museum or whatever. Was telling the story about how Ronnie gave that to Greg Allman, and then I think it was Jackson Brown recorded with it or something. But I've got that video footage, and we're going to play that Wednesday. But today we're going to play the Steve Gaines trip, the 75th birthday celebration, and Lone Star Skinnard was the band that featured there at the Coleman Theater, a really cool theater. And I tell you what, those guys, those friends of Steve Gaines that he grew up and he was in bands with, they're in the video, and they rolled out the red carpet for me. They drove me around, and they just went through story after story, and I don't think there's going to be this much Steve Gaines information out there at one time that you'll find. Right here is where you're going to find it all on this video, because it's a pretty good one. So if I say so myself. So you guys are going to enjoy that. And then my buddy Brian Bodkin, he showed up there and he helped me out with a lot of stuff. He took some video footage, which I didn't use any of his because it's such a big file and it takes forever. So I had to use mine because I'd still be editing it. But he gave me this little piece of paper, and it's a little story about, it says, "Group hit again by burglar." And this kind of goes along with that Ron Eckerman book, where he said something about don't trust leaving the room open up there with who was it he was talking about, Craig, that you don't...
Dean.
Dean Kilpatrick.
From what I remember, it was something like don't trust Dean with any large amounts of money.
And it wasn't because he was a thief or anything. It's because he just left shit laying around. And
exactly.
Yeah.
It was...
In this article here, it says
Dean had a lot of traffic in and out of his room,
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So, Eckerman didn't mean anything bad by it. I don't know if that's what Sally was talking about, but this kind of explains it right here. It's an article that they wrote in the newspaper. It says, Lynyrd Skynyrd was relaxing in the bar of the Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge after a performance in front of 8,000 people in Savannah, Georgia. Ron Eckerman, their tour manager, went up to his room and discovered his briefcase missing. The band and the Roadies then checked their rooms and found most of their wallets and jewelry were gone. The theft, which affected no other guests in the hotel, added up to $71,500. We've been ripped off so many times before that this just doesn't bother us, said lead singer Ronnie Van Zant. Most of the time, it's been with a pencil and paper. At least these people have some class. So that kind of explains, and that sounds like Ronnie's humor right there, city slicker. But yeah, so that's kind of a little backstory on that Ron Eckerman piece that he's talking about, Dean Kilpatrick, and don't leave anything up there around Dean that you want to that's valuable, because it'll go missing, and that's why, because Dean probably, he couldn't keep his eye on everything, and people were walking off with it. Just like you were saying, you couldn't put drumsticks out by the drum sets because people would steal the drumsticks, right, Craig?
Well, yeah, we were talking about the Steve Gaines slides, like I was selling back a couple years ago, and people were saying they were phonies, and when Steve joined the band, he had a bunch of slides that he used to make his own slides out of bottles and stuff, So he had a few of those, and I was just asking. I said, "Man, you want to use Steve or slides like Gary uses?" And Gary used a chloroseine bottle, and Steve used a slide that was open on both ends. Little thicker wall, and Steve said, "No, I like mine. I make mine out of bottles, and
wine bottles, which that's
kind of he made them out of all different kind of bottles. Yeah, I talked to his friends. Yeah, and I said, well, the slides come up missing, during well, if you leave anything laying out, it'll be, if you leave a slide laying out on the top of your amp, it's going to be gone, and just get a store-bought kind. So yeah, we found some from the store, and that's what he switched to. He didn't have any of his the ones that he made with him on the road. We used just regular store-bought ones, because they get stolen like drumsticks. If you leave a dozen drumsticks out, from the time the band does a sound check until they go on and do the show, by the time you get out there to do the show, there won't be any drumsticks out there. Oh, they'll be stagehands have taken them all, So yeah, you just can't leave stuff laying around.
Yeah.
That road manager from the Outlaws, when I was down in Florida, me and my wife went to his hotel and went out to dinner with him and his girlfriend, and we left the room, and his girlfriend had left her purse in the room, and my wife she took her purse down with her to the restaurant, and after dinner we went back up to the room, and the room had been broken into, and the woman's purse was gone and stuff, but yeah, somebody was cased him out, knew he was with the band. And then when he left the room, they went right in the room. It was probably somebody who worked with the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as those slides go, Sammy Ketcher, who was a member of a bass player and drummer, I believe, was in several bands with Steve Gaines before he went to Skinnard. And he said Steve Gaines actually wrote a book on how to make a slide, and it's out there somewhere. But yeah, he explains that in the video that you're going to be seeing coming up. And just so you know, I recorded the entire Lone Star Skinnard concert. It's not like a quality recording because, I just use my little video camera, but I'm not going to put it on this podcast because we don't want it to affect our monetization. So you can go look at that. It's up right now on the Griff Martin files. Just type in Steve Gaines Lone Star 75th birthday party, and it'll come up, and you can watch the entire Lone Star performance at the Coleman Theater. And if I would have put that on here, it would have been a 4-hour podcast, so we couldn't do that, and I didn't want to lose monetization. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good 2 hours and 6 minutes. So I suggest you guys get you some popcorn and watch it at home, because listening to it, you can listen to it on the way to work or whatever, and then when you get home you can watch it. But it's a lot of information in there, and those guys were so awesome, and there's so many famous people that came out of Miami, Oklahoma, and around in that area, actors and musicians, but Steve and Cassie are big are big celebrities in Miami to those people, and they take them seriously. And I had 3 guys that Bobby Poole, Sammy Ketcher, and Moose, John Moss. And John Moss was in Crawdad, and I interviewed him, and that's the first time I ever interviewed anybody and put him in the hospital. I mean, he had to go to the hospital when I got done with the interview. I think I wore him out, man. But he wasn't feeling good. He had a kidney stone, and they had to put a stent in like a few months ago. And the poor guy, he got sepsis, and he was like recovering, and he was good enough to come down there and share some stories. And he's Joe Crimp's friend, and he was in Slowpoke. But you'll hear the whole thing because we go over all of it. So you guys if you're a Steve Gaines fan, if you ever wanted to know anything about Steve Gaines, then watch this video that we're going to be doing here. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I think it came out pretty good. So if we keep going, this is going to be 3-hour podcast.
I was just thinking the same way. We just got to cut it off from here. It's about 2 hours of stuff, and I heard there's some controversial stuff. I haven't seen any of this yet, so we'll talk about it on Wednesday. I guess we'll talk about the some of the stuff that's
Yeah.
singing. I also saw something on here on today. Steve Vest did 3 episodes about he said this is episode 3 of the uh, about the song Three Steps, and he was talking about talking to Gene, and Gene was telling that Alan used to like to sit in the back of the Volkswagen, and he didn't want anybody in the front seat because his legs were real long, and Ronnie was in the back seat. They were riding around, and something to do with about the writing of Three Steps, and I was as I was talking about it, Griff said, "Well, you were talking about when Gary and Ronnie wrote Three Steps out at the Hell House," and I thought about it. I goes, "You're right. That don't have anything to do with
Yeah.
it." So we'll talk about that, and we'll ask Gene what he remembers about
Yeah.
Steve Vest and all that, and we'll talk about that on Wednesday, and we'll talk about this up and coming film you're about to see, and I'm interested in seeing some of it too. So we'll
Yeah, and
sign
you
off.
you
And then
guys go look at the Lone Star Skinnerd on the Griff Martin files, and the video doesn't do it justice because it's just this little camera right here that I use. Um, it's just a high definition, but it does a good job, and I think it's okay, and you can watch it. But with that being said, Craig, let's go ahead and go to the video, Griff Martin on the road, and then we'll talk about it when we come back Wednesday.
Alrighty then, let me find this button in here, and yeah, happy trails to you until we meet again, and see you later, alligator at the Wild Crocodile. Cut.
On the road with Griff Martin, and here I am on the outskirts of Miami, Oklahoma, a place called Spring River. And I can just see Steve Gaines out here fishing on this river. I guarantee you he was out here on this river at one point in time. And tomorrow is going to be the great concert that we're going to be celebrating Steve Gaines' birthday. I'm probably 10 minutes away from the venue, and I just wanted to stop off in this little area here and show some respects for Steve Gaines, somewhere that I think he's probably been. I imagine he's probably, if he ever did any fishing, he's been here. This is a really big river here. So we're going to go over there and check out the town of Miami, Oklahoma. I just jumped in my car and I noticed something kind of weird. They've got these, looks like they're made out of rubber, and they have them to look like dead birds, like dead crows, hanging off of these rails in the parking lot, like almost like they're trying to say, "Don't come over here, crow, or you're gonna die." I just thought that was kind of crazy. Okay, here I am in Miami, Oklahoma, and what's kind of weird is I was born in Miami, Florida, and now here I am in Miami, Oklahoma. This is where Steve Gaines grew up, and we're going to be going down to the theater here in a minute where the venue's going to be played. A little sign over here, not sure what the sign says. Gateway sign. A replica of a sign originally constructed in the 1900s that spanned Central and C Street adjacent to the railroad station. For many years, this sign welcomed visitors to downtown Miami. The original sign was removed during the 1930s. Today, the replica welcomes visitors to a revitalized downtown Miami. Cool. Let's go check out the theater just down the road that way. Looky here, Steve Gaines' 75th birthday. Lone Star Skinnard, September 14th, 7 p.m. The Coleman Theater. Here's the poster right here. And there's the man himself, Steve Gaines. And I'm here a day early, so I'm just kind of looking around and see if I can't go find some folks roaming around here that I might know. Just got permission from a nice gentleman, Danny, to do a little videoing inside the Coleman Theater here before anybody, well, without anybody being in here. And the lights are on. Beautiful theater here, really beautiful theater. Kind of reminds me of the Polk Theater, where I'm from in Lakeland. And wow, how cool is that? Pretty good size in here too. Very ornate. Even have an organ over here. With a balcony. Very nice. Just run up these stairs real quick and take a look around before they close. And this is what it looks like in the balcony area here. Really cool. What a nice chandelier. All right, so this is the Coleman Theater, Miami, Oklahoma. Pretty soon, it's going to be Lone Star Skinnard. Actually ran into a little bit of an exhibit here. Some Steve Gaines stuff. There's Steve and Cassie. Says the Ravens right there. And wow, look at that. The Honkettes. See here, there's pretty cool pictures. Young Steve Gaines. There's a Skinnard band picture. And this is from the Dobson Museum. Cassie with a dog. And a big poster of Steve right here. And you can tell they celebrate Steve Gaines here in Miami, you know, kind of put him on the map. Great little theater. Just kind of kicking around the town here, and this is the Miami, Ottawa County Historical Society, as you can see right there. And this is where they have, they're not open right now, so, but they will be tomorrow. And you can't see it in there. Yeah, there it is. If you look right there, that's Cassie Gaines' basically stage wardrobe. And that's the jacket that Craig wants to know if Cassie's name is on the other side. I'm going to come in here tomorrow and take a look and see if Cassie's name is on the other side of that jacket. That'll tell us indeed was that her jacket, because Craig says he didn't think she was in the band when they gave those jackets out, and he said if that's her jacket, it'll have her name on the front. So kind of cool. Too bad I got here too late before they closed. But I'm going to come back tomorrow and check this out. And they have a lot to do with Steve Gaines around here, as you can see across the street over there. There's the man and the gal, Steve and Cassie Gaines. Big poster of them over there across the street. So they're proud of Steve and Cassie Gaines here, and rightfully so, huh? So yeah, this is right next to the theater. The theater's actually right down there, so it'll be kind of like a one-stop shop for me. And this is basically a temporary. This museum was actually a few miles down the road, and this is temporarily located here while they renovate. So we'll come check that out tomorrow and see what they have in there. I was driving around doing a little investigating, trying to find out where the Gaines home was located, and I found their street, Circle Drive, Gaines Drive, and then right here is where the Gaines, Steve Gaines and Cassie and Bob Gaines, grew up. Just driving through the neighborhood here, just kind of showing you, you know, like the Gene Odom West Side tour. This is Bob, Steve, Cassie Gaines' neighborhood when they were growing up here in Miami, Oklahoma, and really peaceful little neighborhood, nice little street. I was kind of hoping to see somebody outside in their yard, and I'd pull up and say, "Hey, did you happen to know Steve Gaines?" You know, see what they say. Sometimes you get lucky. I did that over there with Tom Petty's neighborhood. I found a guy who knew Tom Petty, which was kind of like hitting the lottery, you know, when you do stuff like this. But just driving around in here and looking at the neighborhood. Imagine Steve had a lot of friends down these streets, probably walking around. Let's ask this guy. Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
I was just doing some filming. I saw Steve Gaines' house down there. His birthday's tomorrow. You know anything about anybody that knew Steve Gaines? You know who he is? You don't know who Steve Gaines is?
No, I don't.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, guitar player. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate it. Right across the street from Steve, Cassie, and Bob's house is a little park, Rotary Park. And it does kind of remind me a lot of Tom Petty's neighborhood, because he had a park right down the road. Imagine Steve probably came over here and burned a few dubs in the day, you know. If this park was even here, not sure. But when I check with these guys that knew him, I'm going to ask them a little bit more about it. Maybe they may even give me a little tour of the neighborhood or something. But anyway, Steve Gaines, Cassie Gaines, Bob Gaines, is where they grew up. Check this out, an old railroad track right down the road from Steve Gaines' house. And looks like it's abandoned. Of course, a dog over there raising hell at me. Yeah, this railroad track hasn't been used in a long time, but I imagine it was probably functioning back in the day. So, pretty cool, an old railroad track, been abandoned. Okay, here I am with Sammy Ketcher and Bobby Poole. And how are you two guys affiliated with Steve Gaines and Cassie Gaines?
Well, for me, I played bass and trumpet in bands that Steve was in. His first band was the Ravens, and the second band was the Cellar Door, and I played bass in that group. And then the next band we had was Magic Kitchen, and I played trumpet in that group. For all of that, Hop here did the light show, Blitz light show, which is a big part of our performance. He was really a whiz, at getting the lights all together and the psychedelic plate with the oil, in the background.
Yes.
Projectors running.
Yeah. What year was that?
67. 66.
Okay, 67, 66, 67.
Yeah, and part of 68. Part of 68.
Yeah, we all grew up with Steve. He played baseball, Little League and all that. We're both a couple of years older than him, so he would have been in a different class in high school, but we all went to high school together. And this is the main entrance into Miami. It's kind of a nice thing. This is hometown. Up here on the right, this brown brick building on the right, used to be the American Legion Hall, right on the corner.
Okay.
It's coming up.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll pull over
Right.
right here so we can see it.
Right there.
Yeah, that whole big upstairs building there was the American Legion, where the Ravens played, where the cellar door was put together.
Yeah, it's that main rehearsal hall up there.
So you guys all rehearsed up there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With Steve?
And Conway
Yeah.
Twitty played there, Jerry Lee Lewis played there.
Bob Wills,
Yeah.
Texas Playboys,
Yeah,
back in the day.
It was a rockin' place. It was Teen Town.
If you see this next building,
Yes.
when we turn right, you see it looks just like this building.
Yeah, okay.
This was a Goodyear tire thing, and this was an automobile dealership. I know
Wow.
exactly. You see, they're the same. Now, after we got through with the upstairs, the Legion Hall here, we saw how our buds, Steve's dad, saw how much money that they were making off of the door, and he rented the top of this building here, called it the upstairs, and we just moved next to it. And the cellar door grew even further, and we practiced right at the top of it.
So Steve, was his dad pretty proactive in getting him going?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
His dad and mother ran this place for us.
Yeah.
We were the house band. When we were playing out, some other band would come to play.
And how old were you guys, would you say, at the time?
I was 21.
I was 18, 19. And Steve was 17, 16. That stairway right over there, man, a lot of good music was made up those stairs. When Bud took over this building, they wasn't going to let him put in a dance floor up there because there was no fire escape. They thought, we got him, no fire escape, he can't take it over, we have to still do over there. Bud built a fire escape,
Yeah.
and he opened it up.
Oh, wow.
Bud was, he was like my dad. They would help people who liked to do what we did. Every town back in those days had, their culture was not rock and roll. So you had a little bit of counterculture in the rock and roll, and Bud helped us a lot. When he built that up there, gave a lot of musicians a place to practice and play.
See, up the top of 1925 was that building.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying right, it was 1926.
26, I think.
Yeah.
Corbett?
So did Steve always play a Strat, or
No.
did he play? What all did he play?
No, he played, when he started out, he played a Fender White Mustang when he played with the Ravens. And then what he really liked was Gibsons. So he got a Gibson 335, but he really wanted, when the Les Pauls came out, he wanted that Black Beauty Les Paul. And that's what he played primarily. When he got in Skinnard, he replaced Ed King, he played Strat.
So that's why he played the Strat, was
But
basically.
he had a Strat too.
Yeah.
He bought it from a good friend of ours, Bob Massey Music up in Joplin, Missouri, who's another fine musician. Bob had a store there, and Steve got these guitars through him, and then he also to Houston. Moss knows more about that trip to there to get his Les Paul that he really liked. And a Marshall, I believe, he bought down in Houston.
Yeah.
Someplace in Texas.
He the 335, it sounded really good. He in the cellar door band, the other guitar player had a 335 too, wasn't it?
Had the 345.
345.
And Bob also played Telly.
Yeah, that's Bob Withrow. He was a really good guitar player.
And back then, Steve was in high school, and I was just a sophomore in college, and Bob was about a year younger than me. And Bob was much more experienced than the rest of us. And Gaines played rhythm guitar and started playing lead and became a really good lead player back then too. But mainly the main guitarist was Bob Withrow. And Bob taught Steve a lot of what he knew. like all the Lonnie Mack albums and different things that centered around guitar.
Yeah, I remember the
Bob,
Whim and all that, yeah.
Bob was originally from Illinois, ended up in Chautauqua, Kansas, because his dad was a pipeliner, and his dad would go out and their home base was Chautauqua. And we found Bob by going to a little nightclub. Well, not night, it's a beer joint.
Melrose.
Yeah.
Not Melrose.
Yeah, and
Crestline.
So what kind of music were you guys playing?
top 40.
Top 40
Yeah.
stuff, yeah?
They'd always bring a crowd on a Friday or Saturday night.
And who was
always
doing the
different
singing?
drums.
His brother would be, and then Steve and I,
Yeah.
and Bob sang too. Well, all of us sang.
Yeah, everybody sang. They did.
Everybody
they
sang.
harmonized.
Any song that they put out on radio, we could copy in that era. No matter what it was, we could do the top 40. And from that, you know, that was good because we played all the time, every weekend, all the proms, all that sort of stuff. Anything had to do with that level of teenagers and stuff, we played all that. We did play a few nightclubs and decided we hated nightclubs.
Okay, here we are on, it says Circle Drive, and then it's got Gaines Drive right below it, and Bobby's going to talk a little bit about the neighborhood here.
Yeah, this is it, part of Miami right here where Steve grew up. We have a really neat park across the street from his house. This is where Cassie was a lifeguard in that wading pool over there, and everybody would gather over there and play baseball and stuff. This is where Steve and all of his friends would play ball. Every little part of the neighborhoods in Miami had different teams. So we was on a different team, we'd come play him and stuff. But Steve lived right here. The gray house is the house he lived in. It looked like this house. They just remodeled it a couple of years ago to turn it into a bed and breakfast. So they changed the facade of it. But the original house looked like this brick house here.
Okay.
And then on the back of it, Bud, who owned Gaines Brothers Construction, they built a nice big den, which really opened it up and gave him a family room. And that's where everything took place in the family room. Steve would practice, had a small bedroom where he'd go back there and sit on his bed, had Beatle posters on the wall. Oh yeah, Ray Charles, everybody.
Yeah.
He had so many heroes, it's crazy. But that kind of thing, just a lot of music happened right there. A lot of people come in and out of that house, so it's pretty neat. Kind of gave us something to, we always had kind of a home base.
Right,
And
yeah.
this is one of them, so.
Okay, let's walk over there and take a look at it, yeah. There's a garage in the back there too?
Yeah, right there where that big window is, that opens up into a big den. And Bud, it kind of gave them a big living area. So when the guys could actually come over, we didn't play there much because actually we had different places we could practice, but they would practice here a little. But most of the work done in here was done in Steve's bedroom where he would just pick out songs, sit on the bed. In fact, probably wrote some songs right there on that bed.
Which one was his bedroom?
Right in the door to the left in the back corner.
Okay, so around the back over there,
Yeah.
kind of where Sammy's.
Yeah, see where this that awning is? That's about where Steve's bedroom
Oh,
would
I
have been
see. Okay.
in that
And-
house. Yeah.
In reference to this house from the one next door.
That's
okay.
where it would have been.
Yeah, all right. Take a walk over there and look.
Yeah, we got some pictures of his bedroom.
We want a shot of this.
It's kind of like almost like a historical marker looking thing.
Well, this was Circle Drive. Now it's Gaines.
Yeah, this
This is Cassie's bedroom right here.
Oh, that's Cassie's bedroom? Is this house vacant?
it is right
Well, this house has been sold, and there is a girl from Miami who is the casting director for Paramount Pictures who bought this.
Oh, okay.
And she's changed it to a bed and breakfast.
Cool.
Yeah. And there's several people from Miami that have done really well. Back here's Steve's bedroom.
Yeah. There we go.
And Bobby.
Yeah, Steve and Bobby in
So,
the same one.
so Steve and Bobby shared a bedroom, huh?
Well,
Kind of like we all did growing up, you know?
I think that's right.
Wow.
This has changed back here. This was
There's the den.
there's the den.
That's what I was talking about. They built on that big fireplace.
Wow, it's got a big fireplace
There's
back
something
there.
else back here. Bob is gone. Because we used to set up bales of hay. His parents' family had a big farm out in the country, of course. And we'd go get big bales of hay. And Steve and I like to shoot bow and arrow. We set up an archery thing back here. We put up
Yeah.
we put up eggs and, and never hit one. Neither one of us ever hit
It was
one.
a challenge. It was a challenge.
Yeah, we had balloons full of water and stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was just something fun to do. And you know, the walkway used to going out there, and there was something else out there, and I can't.
What was there some cane? It seemed like maybe there was some cane.
Well, you couldn't see that house.
No, you couldn't.
I think that house has been extended.
Yeah, probably so.
God,
yeah,
we're talking.
I believe they added a room to it. Yeah,
We're
'cause it
talking
was
50
open
years
when we were
ago.
Yeah,
It's,
it's kind of hard to remember
Oh,
some
there
of that
was
stuff,
a
you know.
A lot of people.
Particularly
were in
when you're
that
old and
den
dumb.
right there. But yeah. Get a shot. We got some pictures of him there. With,
Yeah, he
Yeah, you can't. Okay, I have to get the pictures, but I can see in there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of
that's-
small for a couple
they are.
for a couple guys, you know, to be.
Absolutely. It's two beds, one turned one way, one turned the other, and Steve would sit on that one right there by the door and just cross his legs on the bed
practiced
and
a lot
start
of times
playing.
right there in that room.
Yeah.
But it sounded like his parents were pretty cool to,
Oh, they were.
you know, they supported him.
His
And,
mother, LaRue, was a Elvis Presley fanatic.
oh yeah,
And Steve said when they came to Tulsa, she wanted him to see Elvis. So they went down there, and Steve's going. He saw the magic that happened when they were on that stage and how people go.
Yeah.
So that was his first, hey, maybe I like to do this.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a little encouragement, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
And then later on, of course, he got to do that very thing, you know.
Was this tree? Was it just a little tree, or was it even here? Or?
I don't even know.
I would
Yeah,
say it was
so-
probably the size
don't
of that
remember.
one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like a maple.
Yeah, it is. I think it's real pretty. That's pretty
Yeah, these
maple.
are maple.
And is that porch been added on, or is it
Changed.
Yeah,
changed
it used
some?
to be a small one like.
Yeah.
Oh, I
had
see.
that,
Okay, kind of like that one
this
over
wasn't
there.
like this at all.
Yeah, and what's nice is the lady that bought this house is a really nice lady, and she really wants to make it a super bed and breakfast and have people come and stay here to honor Steve. So
Yeah, they do the same thing at the Van Zant house
Well,
over there.
that's cool.
They
That's
seem
fine.
to
She
keep it
probably-
booked up pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this one here is getting ready to probably be opened up, so we'll let them know when we. I'm not sure what's going on with it right now, but
Yeah.
it's going to be available, so that'd be good.
did Cassie do any singing?
Not
back
with,
then,
Not
or-
with us. She was actually, she wanted to do it all. Tell you the truth, the guys we didn't want a girl singer.
Oh, I see.
Just being
But
honest.
how she
But-
got into singing
Yeah.
was she was the valedictorian of her class and got several scholarships offers, and she went to Memphis State, where she met what's her name?
JoJo.
JoJo. What?
Oh,
the Honkettes.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Those three girls.
Leslie and
I think
JoJo?
it's
Yeah.
Leslie.
Leslie, who
Leslie.
she
She
met,
was
yeah.
a roommate
Yes.
with Leslie at Memphis State,
Oh,
and that's how that got connected.
okay. I didn't know that. I
Leslie
mean,
goes
Leslie
home.
might have told me that at one time.
Leslie goes back to Jacksonville, where they were, and they talked to her because she knew them really well. Said, you know, how about singing in the band? We're going to have girls in the back. And she said, hey, I'll ask Cassie. Maybe we do this. So she talks to Cassie. Next thing you know, she's down to audition, and next thing you know, she's in Lynyrd Skynyrd. Never been in a band in her life.
Do you remember Steve's reaction to that?
I wasn't with him when it happened, but his brother Bobby
Yeah.
come running up to me. Hey,
yeah. Which was, yeah.
dude, Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Because you know, he probably then figured, you know, I'm going to get to meet those
Yeah,
guys
that's
somehow,
gonna
you
be a
know.
connection.
Well, I think that
Gonna be a
it was in
connection.
motion.
Yeah, it was.
Because when Ed quit and they said, how are we going to replace him? Cassie said, I have a little brother. that
Yeah, she was
calls."
bugging him, according to Gary, and
yeah.
Gary was like, well,
She
you
brought
know.
up the tape, their crawdad tape they did in Tulsa,
Hey.
and they listened to it, you know. But that's, I hate to say this, but it's a lot better than Skinner. You know, Steve was, he was a real spark plug for them. He increased that group.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It was an honor to play with him. All of us learned from Steve in that respect, even though we started him out sort of, you know, and he was younger. But he grew and grew and grew and grew because that was his life. That's all he did was play guitar.
When did he start messing around with the slide?
When he was with the Cellar Door.
Yeah?
We had heard Dickie Betts and some other people do it. Then we heard the Old Black Guys, Muddy Waters,
Yep.
and that. And then so, in fact, if you can find it, Steve drew a little booklet about how to make a slide. Because we found out that how it happened was sailors went to Hawaii and they saw them doing it over there. And they found out it was a wine bottle that you take a wine bottle, the neck of it, and you dunk the twine in kerosene, tie it around the ball and set it on fire. And when you do that, it breaks off.
Oh, yeah,
so they
okay.
stuck their finger in it. And then we figured out we could do that. So we started using Corsetin bottles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Corsetin.
Oh, yeah. I
still
think they
going?
still do them, yeah.
Doing that, and they were too light. And then we heard about Sears spark plug wrenches.
Yeah.
That was the next step.
Yeah.
Sears spark plug
Wow.
wrenches. All that was going on.
Yeah, that's kind of like a steel one, actually,
Yeah.
steel.
Oh, yeah. And then what he ended up with, I know, I left, lost touch with them all. But
You probably still
basically,
have a bottleneck.
that's where it went. If you can find that little book that shows how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
He writes it all down, how to make a bottleneck.
Yeah, that would be cool to get a hold of that
It's
book
available.
somehow.
It
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it
I'll have
in the
to-
museum?
It may be in the museum.
Okay.
I know it's Steve Booth, and I think Booth was there when he wrote it up. He should be there tonight. Steve Booth will be there. He's one of Steve's friends. He used to play here all the time. They're the exact same age. We're the same class together. And Gary Neal, they call him Woody. He's the one that has the book that shows the instructions that Steve wrote up about how to make a bottleneck. And
Well, I can't tell you how cool this is to be standing right
maybe
here.
Steve, that's
It's-
Steve's drawing, and Neil has it.
You're standing right in the yard of Steve Gaines and Cassie Gaines with his old playing buddies here, and it's just amazing. People that follow him and get to see
It
this,
is.
they're really going to love
It's
it.
strange to us because it's like, it's just Steve Gaines. Yeah, I know Steve.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world, oh my God, we're not worthy. We have a
Did
great
he-
guy come up
A lot
do
of
that.
A lot of people, they when they hear Steve Gaines and they know that he carried that guitar around with him everywhere. When he
Well,
wasn't
everywhere, we did
playing,
a lot.
he just kept it with him, huh?
Well, I don't know if he's like Richie Valens and lived with it and slept with it, but yeah, he might because
Yeah.
right there in his bedroom.
Yeah, I bet he did. Yeah, he did play it a lot. He did. You have to play as much as he did to get as good as he did.
Well, and
he
then-
always was challenged, wasn't he? Sam?
Oh, yeah.
He'd always look for something better to learn and something
Well,
harder to play.
That's one of the reasons that the cellar door turned into Magic Kitchens as we grew.
Yeah.
And we got tired of doing top 40 because
Yeah.
it's like working in a factory. How many times can you play Proud Mary or whatever and keep your sanity? That's what you have to do because that's
Yeah.
what people like. So
Where did you guys live? In this neighborhood somewhere? Or?
We both lived on the other side of town.
we lived
Okay.
across the
We lived
tracks.
across the tracks.
Oh, and I noticed that over here there's some train tracks, like right over there.
That's him.
Yeah,
Was there a train actually working?
Yeah, there, right
Oh, yeah.
right behind us here, about a half a mile, was a giant B.F. Goodrich rubber plant. 3,000 men working.
Yeah.
All these neighborhoods were built because of all the money that was being put out every month at that rubber plant. $3 million payroll every month, or every week, I'm sorry. So everybody was making good money, building houses. Gaines Brothers Construction Company was building houses,
They had a
building shopping
concrete,
centers.
Yeah, they did
Concrete.
concrete because I know Joe Crimp told me, that that's what his dad did was concrete, and they had that concrete business, and so they were pretty. And Joe Crimp and Bob actually built screen rooms down in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
All over the place. Yeah, they're still there. A lot of them
believe it.
still
Well, that's
there.
a solid business.
Yeah.
The night before Steve went out, wasn't he working on Main Street?
Well, he told me
Yeah.
when he came back, I saw him after he opened for the Stones.
Mm-hmm.
He said, 2 weeks ago, I was in Main Street of Miami, Oklahoma, in a ditch, getting ready to put in a water system, pipes or whatever. He says, here I am. 2 weeks later, here I am with the Stones in London.
Walking out
How
on the
crazy.
town.
Yeah.
How crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it amazed him,
Yeah, it did.
of course. And all of us going, yeah?
It was just just amazing how that quick change happened in his life. But he handled it. He did really good. He didn't. I mean, he played. He knew he was there for one reason, and
Yeah.
that was to get it. And boy, he'd love to get it. So
Did you guys did he ever like get you to come out and see him at some of the concerts? Did you get to go backstage?
We would have, yeah. Several of our friends did.
yeah,
When they were
they were in Tulsa.
well, in L.A. They
Yeah.
were. Where were
So did you guys get to meet Skinnard, the guys, Ronnie and everybody?
They came here and played baseball.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. They did
Yeah.
a float on the river out here. We got some pictures of them getting in the. Steve invited them down, and they all took a canoe float down Spring River to Blue Hole, And we have pictures here from Candy Malachi, who I got to give her credit for it. She always had a camera with her, a little Instamatic. And we've got several pictures that she gave us of them in the canoes, Van Zandt and everybody, and sitting on the beach. And
wow, how cool! Yeah,
I'll make sure you get those.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out for sure.
I just pulled them up the other day because I hadn't seen them in a while, and I used one of them for our advertisement for our 75th birthday party.
Well, when Steve went to audition for Skinnard, I had a group in Joplin. We were a nightclub band, a show band, where the money is, where the hard liquor is. They were playing bars, where the beer money was. So I got into it because there was more money, and I needed to make more money. Anyway, I got in that band, and Steve came to see us. And after the gig, he came over to my house, him and Moss both. And Steve said, I'm going to try out for Skinnard tomorrow night. I said, really? He said, yeah, in Kansas City, they'll be there. And Cassie's got me I'm going to try out with them. I said, really? And he looked at me and said, you think I'm good enough to make it? You think I can do that? And I couldn't believe it. I said, yes. I said, you'll be a shot in the arm. What I've heard of them pick their songs out, they're just 3-chord blues stuff. You've been eating that up, since you were 18. There won't be any problems. And when they got on stage, the first tune they opened up with for him to try it on was T for Texas by Jimmy Rogers, which how many years ago? We know that 3-chord wonder, and Steve ate it up.
He decided to break that slide out, right?
Yeah.
And then
Well, that's why he was doing it.
Yeah.
Because we had heard Muddy Waters and those guys doing that sort of thing, and that was that was it. There's been other groups that tried it.
Johnny Winter, Edgar
Oh,
Winter,
yeah.
it was good. Slide is good music. People like to hear it. It just kind of lightens you up or something, gets you going.
Yeah, they just happened to pick, the perfect spot for him to play.
They did.
And of course, he was ready. He had to come out both guns.
Yeah, he did, and he came out shooting.
I saw a video with Ace Moreland, and he kind of talked about Steve sort of did the same thing for him that Skinnard did for Steve.
Yeah, he did.
Ace Moreland was in his brother's band, only played drums.
Yeah, he was a drummer when we.
That's what I hear. He started out.
Old.
Yeah,
he was 13.
drummer.
And my brother D had Jim Dolan on bass and Roger Dolan on guitar, I think.
And you said he stuttered. He stuttered pretty.
He did back in the day. Yeah, he learned to sing really great though. But when he was a young man, he had a
Mel
little
Tillis, Mel Tillis.
Right. Yeah.
Once you know the words and it's in your head what you're going to say, when you have to think and form a sentence, that's where Ace got in trouble.
Yeah, but he he'd play. He really picked it up, and he just lived 5 miles away from here. So.
Oh, really?
Yes, Ace lived in Commerce, Oklahoma, which is the home of Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, his dad had a pawn shop.
Yeah. In fact, that pawn shop sitting over there, we're getting ready to, City of Commerce, getting ready to purchase it, and they got to empty it out. So I'm going to see if Sammy and I can help him empty it. He used to buy old guitars and amps and drums.
And guns. There was another thing he liked was guns.
Anyway.
In addition to that, to mention his brother D, who was a singer with us, D is really the spark plug behind all the music scene in Miami and a lot of the Joplin scene. I was in D's class. I was a music major, but I wanted to play bass. No place to play trumpet, except with the big band of Shangri-La. Anyway, I decided I wanted to play bass, and so D found out I wanted to play bass, and talks me and recruits me, takes me down to Tulsa, and I buy a bass, an amp. Yeah, D couldn't play a lick, but I went and did it. And I said, do you think we'll make enough money? And D said, oh yeah, no problem with that. He could sell, refrigerators in Alaska. Kind of guy. And what he did, he was the spark plug behind all that music thing. He doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. But he recruited Ace. Steve was already in a band, but me, John Moss, he recruited. Johnny Rose, he recruited. Ronnie Brooks, he recruited.
He did, yeah.
There's several guys that
just started when they were all young.
If it wasn't for D,
D had a knack of finding these guys that were 13 or 14 and seeing they had possibilities, and knew that's what they wanted to do, and they picked it up and they took off with it.
D would just
kind of like Ronnie a little bit. Yeah, Ronnie.
They're about the same
personality.
size.
Yeah, the same kind of just a spark plug.
He just had that intuition.
Took control.
Yes.
Yeah, just really was
sort of like the nucleus.
Yeah, and once he got the band together
and
they were practicing and everything, that's when we started going out and booking it. And he had all kinds of nice ways to learn how to. Well, we learned how to go out and get a crowd. You know, you got to advertise. Back then, there wasn't Facebook. You know, you don't. Everything was by feet. You didn't.
Oh yeah, I mean you didn't have cell phones or any of that stuff.
I was telling Sammy for this birthday party, I was doing what Dee used to do. You'd go into a business and say, "Can I put a poster up?" And say, "Yeah, you can put one right over there," which they'd either see coming or going. So Dee would tape two together and stick it up there. And when you're on the inside, it looks like one. When you're on the outside, it looks like one. And you get it coming and going. So
right,
we were doing that. We've been doing that for the last 2 weeks.
But
he was really sharp like that. He would just little things, and it brought a crowd. We had Memorial Hall in Joplin. It's a shame they're getting ready to tear it down, but we'd put 1,800 in there.
Oh yeah,
We'd
to
pack
2,000.
it. Yeah, we couldn't sell. The fire marshal would come say, "No more. You can't sell any more tickets. That's it." You know, so that was cool. It was a lot of fun. We'd put the big light show up in there, and it would fill that whole. It was good. A lot of good music.
Yeah, and that's how we actually got to. Steve got all that practice in. I mean, we were that good back then. Pardon me, I'm not trying to be egotistical, but we were the top group.
Oh yeah, hey, around this area.
Always when we did.
Well, it sounded like every venue that you guys played, you packed it out.
It was good.
I mean,
They were, and yeah, then they started. The people at the proms wanted to, and around here, people started paying really good money to have you come in and do a 2 or 3 hour thing at a prom.
I put myself through college doing it.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
amazing.
I did.
really, that's great.
Another thing, this is right on the Oklahoma state line. 21 years old, they're drinking Oklahoma in the 1960s. Right across the state line, 5 miles away, 18 in Kansas. Big bars up there. Everybody went to Kansas to play music.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yes.
everybody could come up there and drink beer. All the kids from university, from all the big, Pitt State, Missouri Southern, they were up there. And there was Roadhouse was the first place we had.
Yeah, Roadhouse.
St. John and the Apostles, they were a really good band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
that's one of our guys that taught us.
yeah, that's one of the
What to
guys.
do.
Yeah, that was the St. John and the Apostles was the band that we kind of learned from. Professional, I mean, really good. Everybody knew exactly what they were doing. Really good musicians, and they picked out top 40 songs and packed this place out because people wanted to hear what they heard on the radio back then, because they had it in their mind. They could dance to it. They knew the song,
Yep.
and so we figured, hey, look how much money they're making doing this. But in between, Sammy and Steve wrote some original songs, and it's on the original.
You'll see
Celador
the album
album.
in the museum. We did this album we sent to. He took it to California, and the reason he went to California is because a good buddy of his had to go back there to report to his parole officer. And this buddy his dad was a doctor. He got him out of California because of a wild place, And so he said he's got to go back, and Hobbs said, "Hey, I can hit you right out there, and we'll take this around and shop it to the major labels." So he takes it to Decca and Mercury, and they He goes into Capitol, and he walks up to the desk and says, "Hey, we're from Oklahoma. We got a band here, boys from Oklahoma here that's really good." Unbeknownst, we did not know that in the basement of Capitol was the Wrecking Crew. Glenn Campbell,
Oh, no kidding.
Leon Russell.
Okies,
Okies.
Yeah.
or Arkansas,
Yeah.
and Okies, and also Bernie Kessel,
Yeah, Barney
Barney Kessel from Muskogee.
Yeah.
They knew all of that, and when they said Oklahoma boy, she said, "Oh," calls up, "Go right up those stairs." And they took it right up, and we didn't know the guy who he was. Turns out it's Phil Scepter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Listened to the whole album and said, "Bring these boys out here."
Oh, wow.
He did.
So
Yeah.
he comes back, we're all, Gang just thinking how he's going to get out of high school to do this. But at that time, Vietnam's hot and heavy. And the guitar player, Bob Withrow, we told you about, gets a draft notice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it killed the whole thing.
Changed the other band, just, yeah.
Yeah, we went three-piece for a while.
Yeah.
And we still...
He should have done like Greg Allman and shot himself in the foot or something.
Greg did that.
That's what I hear.
Well, Bob might have been tempted to do that, but it didn't work out that way. But yeah, that's kind of cool out there when we took the record out to him.
You know why he didn't? Because his big idol was Jimi Hendrix.
Oh.
Hendrix was in the 101st Airborne.
Yeah.
And Withrow went, "Yeah, that's the thing to learn. That's where my next step is."
Well, look at Elvis. Elvis went, you know.
they were good.
But Elvis, I think he had a cush job in the military, though.
Yeah, he wasn't armor, right?
But he was in Germany. He didn't go to Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he built the big Elvis Presley Rec Center down at Fort Bliss, Texas. So that's where he first went in for his induction. Yeah, the rec center's named after Green Door, I think's the name of it. Yeah. He built it for him.
Yeah, because once you come back from the military for something like that, you know, people, they really respect you, you know.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, you served it,
Well,
did your time. Yeah, you did.
That's how he went in. And he was kind of excited about it after he thought about it when he found out he couldn't get out of it. You know,
So
we
when
tried
he-
to go to Canada.
So
but we
he
let
got,
him in.
did he make it back okay, though, and everything? Yeah.
No, well, he didn't go to Nam. He said he's getting ready to ship out in Fort Lewis, and they came by and you, and he got sent to Alaska. To
Oh.
Wainwright.
And everybody else on the plane went to Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And he picked those two.
Yeah, he picked it. Yeah, Bob.
Withrow.
I said it's probably because your mom was praying for you. Is why. It
I
happened.
would imagine, yeah. Yeah.
And so when he got out, then what happened?
He came back and he and I started playing together again.
Yeah.
You know, I'd graduated from college and didn't want to teach yet. You know, I wanted to still pursue it, and so we threw get some bands and found out basically we were too old to do it.
Did
We
Steve
didn't
go to
wanna-
college?
Some.
Some?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went to Pittsburgh. I think he was an art major.
I think he
And
was.
Cassie went to college, too, right?
Memphis State.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where she met Leslie.
Yeah.
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 I don't know
Yeah,
what
she
happened
was, I
to
think
it.
she was our valedictorian, I believe, in '66.
So she graduated then and everything.
Well, I don't know if she graduated from college.
They got, that's when they took off.
don't know.
I'm not sure what class. See what class we should have been in '77. She may have been already been.
Just a couple of years younger than me.
No, it had been
66.
Yeah.
Steve was 67.
Yeah.
Cassie was either 65 or 66.
Just 67.
Well, I'm going to walk around a little bit just real quick and just
sure.
videotape this, and then I guess we got some more stuff to look at, huh?
Yeah, we'll
I'll
show
go
you.
sit down
Yeah, we're gonna.
before my knees fall off.
I'll go around part of it.
Watch out for that decimal on that dog.
Yeah, the dog's name. Tell me about the dog.
Oh, yeah. The dog's name is, what that dog's name?
Well, there's a dog in the back?
Oh, we're BSing.
Oh, you're talking about back in the day.
Yeah. Well, no, we're just BSing you on that deal.
So here's the outside of the house right here, the backyard. Steve Gaines grew up, just to take another look at it. And,
The entrance right there, where that window is.
oh, that's where the entrance was, the side door? Steve, Cassie, and Bob Gaines grew up right here. And imagine the stories. All right, cool.
Kids use basketball and stuff.
So the Miami Civic Center and,
Yeah,
and Steve
yeah.
used to play in here, huh?
Oh, God, yeah. They're probably, I don't know if it's open this morning. Usually have pickleball going. But it's
Did you guys play in here too with cellar door?
Everybody,
Yeah.
There was
That's where they had the proms.
And it's just right down the road from his house.
yeah, it is. It was not
Is
too
this the
far.
same tracks?
Yeah, same
Well,
tracks.
it's Eniosper.
Yeah.
That other is that Enio or
Yeah,
is that
Enio.
Is it?
Yeah, it goes out to the plant. Yeah. We'll go down to we'll go down this part of town where Sammy and I, they're still, and there's a pavilion. We put bands together down in the park.
There's the Coleman right there.
Yeah.
So were you guys, were you guys in Crawdaddy?
No.
No?
That's Moose.
That's Moose?
And John Seberg, which Seberg and Marcano and Johnny Rose wasn't in that band, but those are three guys you used to play with Steve. They're not going to be here today.
Well, the guy played with us and would be Johnny Rose and Mike Rivers can't be here.
Mike Rivers, yes.
I think the only people to be here is me and Moose.
I think so.
And I'm the beginning of it, and Moose is the end of it, as far
Yeah,
as
pretty much. Honestly,
playing with Steve.
Yeah.
Whenever Steve left,
He went
the
to
band.
Here. It's where his funeral was, right?
Yeah,
Oh, is this where his funeral was?
That was the funeral right there, you betcha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was packed.
So,
The street was,
when he left, you guys kind of, just wished him well and he took off and
Well,
you
he-
were happy for him,
He came
huh?
back to the Prida
yeah.
and met people. I didn't get to go. I was a teacher full-time in Columbus, Kansas, which is just up the road from Parida. And I couldn't go. I had responsibilities at school. And I heard about it. He went there. In fact, they opened it up specifically so he could come and and say hi to everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I had to miss it. Had teaching duties to do.
So what are we looking at here?
412A. This is where the Poole brothers, D. Jim, and me, Bob Hop. This is where Sammy and Bob Withrow and
Steve.
Pink Peach Mob and a bunch of other bands were put together here.
Cellar
Yeah.
Door.
Cellar Door.
So you guys did a lot of practicing in here, huh?
Yeah.
Until 10 o'clock, the police would run us off.
Yeah, because we'd keep the neighbors up. But that's when we started going to the upstairs and finding different places. The next place we practiced after the bands were put together here, we're going to go down to the pavilion. There's a pavilion in the park. I didn't know you wanted to leave. I here a lot because this is his neighborhood.
So this is Knott's Grocery, and this is
Yeah.
where Steve used to come up here and you would eat in there, you say?
Well,
Yeah,
you
we get
got a
sandwiches.
deli in there. Yeah, we'll come back by it. We'll come back. We'll go by Sammy's and swing back by it. We'll go down here and go to the pavilion. That is the side slide.
So up here on the left's the city pool, and you guys would come down here and cool off in the summer, huh?
Yeah, and Cassie was a lifeguard there too. I think.
Cassie was a lifeguard there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
This is Riverview Park.
Yeah.
And we'd get together a bunch of tunes and come down in the park and set up and play for nothing just to practice. And where we did it's right up here in this pavilion.
They had a place to plug in
Yeah, we're gonna
and
take
everything?
We're going to take you there.
See that building right there? That's the National Guard Armory back in the day. And in Miami, when they couldn't book the American Legion because they had something going on, they'd book this. They had really good bands coming in. Rodney and the Blazers and I can't think of Connie and the Bellhops and a bunch of bands in the 50s were really big. Jerry had Jerry Lee Lewis and Conway Twitty. So
This
that
is the
was
old
a hot,
pavilion.
Yeah, that was a hot place.
Where we played was here at the new pavilion, which was built in the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, they built it. They put in all the electrical plugs, and we didn't ever say anything, so we could come down here and play.
In fact, I've got a picture of us there.
Okay.
We're on that pole there.
Yeah.
That's Cellar Door picture. That's where it's taken.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had some really cool places you could go and jam.
Yeah, that was right here. This was a good place
And
to jam right
that's
here.
because of D Pool.
Let me see. I think I can find that picture, Sammy. See that light pole out there? I got a picture of them all hanging on it here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
We're looking at Riverview Park, and this is where the guys, they would come, and it's not that far from Steve's house.
No, it was a good place to jam. They gave us free electricity. The city just built it for people to come have fun. And when we were jamming over on A Street, that small house, 10 o'clock at night they get after us, which most people stayed up that late. So we started coming down here, and then we started drawing a crowd, Sammy, and that's when they realized they could start. Well, just other than practicing, people were really enjoying what they'd accomplished.
Right.
So they started booking up there at the upstairs and the American Legion, but 2 or 3 bands, at least 2 were put together right there, and some other really good musicians were that come up there and got to play. But it was,
So this has been here a long time, then.
Yeah.
1965 probably.
Mostly it's pecan trees. We used to come and see the pecans up there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
I
yeah.
wish I could find that picture. I'll find it for you.
We got a lot of pecans from here. The police would run us off because we brought our fishing poles in.
Yeah. Well, we took some what do you call it?
Well, you heard me
promotional
mention
pictures
Gibbs's
down
bait
here.
shop.
Yeah.
That's where we took the pecans to sell them.
Oh, okay.
That's why we
Walk down there, yeah.
And the lady that owned it was Marguerite Gibson, and when she always had a cigarette in her mouth, and it always dangled out. And when she talked, it'd go, and she'd have an ash, and we'd be staring at that ash. Is it going to fall? When's it going to fall? Is it going to burn her boobs or what?
Yeah.
It became a joke with everybody.
Yeah.
Because Marguerite, what do you want? Well, get that away. Let's see what's in
We're pretty talented at
that cigarette.
Yeah. I'm trying to find some pictures here.
Okay, so what are we looking at here, Bobby?
This picture is the picture of the Cellar Door Band with Steve, Jerry Sanders, my brother D, Bob Withrow, and there is Sammy Ketcher, which is standing right over here, Sammy is. And we put this band together. This is a Cellar Door in this pavilion back here.
Promotional picture.
Yeah,
And that's on that pole, right?
pole right there.
Yeah, that pole right there has got Steve Gaines leaning against it right there. And that's in 1967?
66.
Six.
Where's Steve? Which one's he?
In the checkered coat right here on the right-hand side
Checkered
down at the bottom.
There's Steve.
Yeah, and then Jerry Sanders was a really good drummer right over here on the left. and Sammy up on the pole there. And this is Bob Withrow we were telling you about, the really good guitar player. He was you tell by his long hair, he was a guitar player before everything went kind of into the hippie scene. He was already there. Mentally, he wanted to play different music.
Yeah.
And that's my brother D. He was a singer. And then that's one of the good bands, really the best. That was a good band put together here. It really was. And we seemed like that made.
That's probably in the winter time then, huh?
Yeah. There's another.
Fall.
I got another
On
one there.
that pole right there.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
I'm the only one left from that group.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sammy's the survivor. Now this picture here of Steve. This is Sammy on the left. This is right down here at the river in Riverview Park.
Yeah, right down there.
Let me turn this where it'd be bigger for you. Okay, here we go. That's Sammy Ketcher right over here. This is Steve Gaines in the middle. Jerry Sanders up on the log. My brother D. And then Bob Withrow up there. And that's a view of them in the...
We're in the riverbed.
Yeah.
Real low.
Yeah.
And shooting north.
So the old bridges over there.
We saw that. And
But this was shot the same day as the other picture we just had, the same promo.
we had who did that?
Ed Craig, I think.
Craig?
Mm-hmm.
He probably got-
So, Bobby, when was the first time you met Steve?
It would be in Little League Baseball. I was playing for the A's, and I think he was playing for the Rebels, maybe.
No, Sooners.
Sooners. He's playing for the Sooners. He's just a good kid. You could have fun playing with him.
Second baseman.
Second
And
baseman.
a good one.
Yeah. And I was good friends with his friend Steve Booth, because we grew up around Booth and Macklin, Steve Macklin. And so he was just one of the guys. We just started, you knew him. You know, everybody in Miami, there were different neighborhoods because each neighborhood would have a park system. In the summertime, the kids would play ball, they'd go bowling, they'd take them swimming.
Horseshoes,
Yeah,
crafts,
they'd bus you all over the city.
domino,
And so we knew when we went to the park we were showing you, Rotary Park, that Steve would be there, and that's where their baseball team was. Then they'd come down to where we played at either McKinley or Lincoln School. So you get to know everybody in Miami. There wasn't, I would imagine in the 6th grade there was probably, 100 kids in the whole town in the 6th grade?
Oh yeah,
Probably at least 200 maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But you knew them. It's just amazing in a small town how because you know their parents.
Because
or
everybody knew everybody, huh?
Everybody did.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And how about you, Sammy? How'd you meet Steve?
Steve, he walked into Bob's house. We were rehearsing. I just began playing bass, and we invited Steve over. I guess Dee did,
Yeah.
and he showed me how to play. Boom, boom, boom,
Gotta get out of this place.
Oh, yeah, the
He
animals?
showed me that lick,
Yeah.
and I just started it. And
You
yeah,
know,
in fact, he was probably the first one to show me these bass parts.
you know what to me, what got Sammy to sing, Sammy could sing harmony with my brother D. And that, it's hard to find somebody that you can always harmonize really good with. I think Sammy came up on stage one time when he wasn't even playing the bass and just started filling in a song. And Dee looked over, I think, Sammy knows that. I mean, he just...
Yeah, there was the Mud Hut,
Yeah.
and he was doing, if you ever
Yeah.
change your mind about leaving me behind.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I came up and put the harmony part
Yeah,
in.
oh, that was good too. And Dee looked at him like, we need to start using that. So they said, you need to play bass.
And I wanted to, so there's not much to deal with it.
Yeah, so they go to
Here
Tulsa
about-
and buy him a bass.
Yeah, that took about, 3 days.
Don't worry about making the payments on the same. We'll make plenty of money.
Just like Ed King in Skinnard was playing bass, and he said Ronnie fired him because he wasn't very good at it. And then he's put him on. Then he wanted to play the Strat because everybody else, they were all playing Gibson. So
Yeah.
Oh, they're different. They make it different. Yeah. Shoot if we can.
I think I can get it from here. Yeah. Okay, Mickey Mantle's house.
Yeah.
All
And
right, I
that's-
had no
Sammy, tell the
idea.
story about the wall over there, that old barn.
Oh, that's where Mickey's supposed to stay there, and his grandpa pitched to him. If he hit the ball correct, he'd hit the house. And that's what his grandpa wanted. It made him do it left-handed and right-handed.
And there's a certain spot on there that have dents in it where if Mickey was throwing the ball and they didn't catch it, it'd dent the tin.
That's on that.
In the old building. That's why they saved that old building, because Mickey Mantle dented the tin on it.
Look at it.
Let's see. That's BJ.
They tell me this is the boyhood home of Mickey Mantle. And how cool is that? And all the guys right there that played music with Steve Gaines standing on the porch of Mickey Mantle's house.
That same stuff.
And they say it's just like it was back in the day. And supposedly they left this old barn here because Mickey Mantle used to pitch, and they say there's some dents in this tin where Mickey Mantle used to throw the ball and it would hit the tin. See if I could see. Yeah, there's some dents in there. Looks like dents. You can't see it with the camera. Dents from Mickey Mantle throwing the ball. It's pretty cool. All right, little bonus. Mickey Mantle's boyhood home with the original barn, and he used to pitch to his father out here. I'm trying to get the camera so you can see. That's the living room. Mickey Mantle's house, his boyhood home. That's pretty much just how it was, they said.
Yeah, they go all over the
What is that thing?
It's a fertilizer. Yeah, they get out on those big fields and those arms open up and they cover like 100 feet at a time.
fertilizer.
We just pulled up to the old Parita, and back in the day, what was this, Bobby?
It is right now. It's a dance hall.
Yeah, it's a big dance hall built in the 1930s where all the coal miners around here had big polka parties. It holds a lot of people. This is where the Magic Kitchen played all their big gigs right here.
And we're in Kansas.
We're in Kansas.
And it was about 30-minute drive out, or 45-minute drive outside of where you guys grew up, Miami. So
yeah, it's this is where two big college towns are just a few miles from us here. So they would come and gather here at 18 to drink beer. So it would get full.
We felt it every weekend.
Yeah, back in the day, it never has been air conditioned now, but it would get hot in the summertime. We'd open up the big windows, and there'd be so full inside, and people would just be standing outside listening to the Magic Kitchen play.
It'd be coming out to cool off too.
Yeah, and I remember one evening they closed with "Hey Jude," and the whole place here was singing "Hey Jude" like in the movie, like the Beatles did.
Right, yeah.
You could hear it, I'm sure, for a long
yeah, because you can go with "Hey Jude" for an hour.
It lasted quite a while. They were all been drinking about 3 hours, so yeah, it went for a while.
Yeah.
It was my show tune, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But come on inside. We'll show you the bar, and we got pictures of the Magic Kitchen on the wall where they used to be in here. So.
What's it say up there?
Please enter. Put too good of food to let it burn. This is the bar they gave Parita. This used to be a really full hot spot here, and they had and back in the day they had an old grill in the back, and they'd fix burgers. Man, they were good and greasy.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And beer tapping out of there. Then you come through here and go into the ballroom.
So it's set up in here pretty much the same as it was?
Pretty much. They just added a little bit to the bar. And when it comes in here, it opens up to the big ballroom.
Man, what a great place.
Oh, this is where we used to play Magic Kitchen.
Oh my God.
And I had light show set up upstairs. I had 5 projectors up there. We had 3 guys working for me. And we lit this whole thing. It was all white. And it just was continually moving all the time. To the beat of the music.
You could have had the birthday bash here.
Oh yeah.
Even.
It's a great place, yeah.
Yeah.
I had the meal and everything with it. But Coleman's his hometown.
Is that the original stage?
That's the original stage, and there's pictures over here. I'll see if I find the Magic Kitchen band. Yeah, that's the original stage. It hadn't changed. The back, they put those new windows in the back. That used to be all white, and it would we could project pictures of the band on there, or we were able to do a lot with it. It kind of looks like a green screen. But this is when my dad brought the Joe Napodi band. That was our advertisement for it. But it was that night was a great night. And Bob Wills has been here. There is a Magic Kitchen thing. I think where it's at. I thought it was on that wall right there. But these are all the grooves. This is what it looked like back in the day when we used to. That's when it was first built in the 30s. Let me see if I can find a picture of the Magic Kitchen. I know they used to go on that one wall right there.
Right there where Dave stood.
Yeah, right there's where, yeah, we're standing. I'll find a picture where you.
Right there's where Steve stood.
This walk up stage, this wasn't there.
Wow, cool.
This is where he stood.
Steve Gaines
Claire and I was over here.
stood right there with Magic Kitchen,
I was here.
and you were there.
Yeah.
Boy,
It's different.
if the walls could talk.
The ceiling is all tin and the deck is wood. Where these lights are hanging down, there were little fans, little airplanes, and the propeller was the fan blades. I wonder what they did with those. Who might have one of those?
Did they redo that ceiling? It
Oh,
looks
yeah, it's
pretty
all-
new, yeah. But that floor is original, huh?
Yes,
And this is original stage too.
right. These steps were not here. There was a shelf right here.
Put
Where
a.
Steve put his stuff.
Oh, Steve would put his stuff up
Yeah.
there, yeah. Very big. And the acoustics in here sound like they would really sound great.
Where back then, near Bob Wells and the Tennessee was really effective.
Yeah, there's a really good view from up here too of the whole place.
Wow. Plenty of room.
It really changed the acoustics.
They're really steep stairs.
Not a bad seat in the house.
No, it was designed for this. It was designed to party. These booths have been here for almost 80 years, probably 100
Wow.
years. And it used to pack out. It still does.
Did you, for those there who did the light show?
No, they went sitting over to the side. They moved them to the side.
You know, I thought Jacksonville had some good venues. You guys aren't, you're no slouches when it
No.
comes to
This
some
is a great
venues.
place to play right here.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Had some big people come in here. I mean, the Magic Kitchen just used to smoke it out. I mean, it was great.
Our pictures over here somewhere.
You can imagine they changed it. They started putting up historical of the town, and none of it.
None of the names.
Well, they
Not here anymore. Here it is.
Yeah,
Right here.
there you go.
Right here.
There's your Magic Kitchen. Show him where Steve is.
That's Steve right there. That's me. That's Hop's brother D.
Yeah, I took the picture.
Clark Rand, Mike Rivers, Chris, no, I can't see. That's Johnny Rose and
Brooksy.
Brooksy and Caceres,
Yep.
bass player.
That's the Magic Kitchen man. And this place used to just, big party.
Wow.
Yeah, every weekend.
Yeah, I told my brother D. That's a liquor license for 76.
Wow.
That's
And your
we-
dad signed that?
Well, my dad has owned it, operated it, and my brother D had the liquor license on it.
Wow.
And that's when we had that big party you're talking about.
76.
Yeah. That's the year before Steve went up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really packed it in here. It was a good.
So they're thinking that this is Steve Gaines' art here. Here we get the reflection. We're thinking Steve drew that. Says it's his style, so. Didn't know he was an artist.
Oh yeah, he drew lots of things. He drew his logo for Crawdad. That big lobster thing.
Oh yeah?
He drew
He
that.
drew that?
He drew that. Right, and he was a cinematographer. He worked with everybody. John Wayne, you name a big star, he did it. If you read there, you can tell.
Yeah.
He even was a cameraman for the Three Stooges.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
This his light. It tells you about this light that he invented. He married Merle Oberon. She was in a car wreck and had scars. And he invented this light called the Obi that they're still using today. They have the camera. They have a light on it, that fills all the shadows.
Yeah.
So it takes away the scars on your face.
Oh, okay. So.
And it's still used today. When you see somebody doing a podcast, you see a little light under. That's an Obi.
Oh, wow.
It's because he named it after Merle Oberon, his wife. That's why they call it the Obi. And
Yeah,
often I got him put on the wall here. Marcelin Larkin, that was an Native American dancer. She was in the original Russian ballet. Charles Banks Wilson, a famous artist. And that building right over there in the corner, it was his dad's paint store, and that's where he painted. And up in the Coleman.
You mean a paint store, like a house paint store?
Yes.
And he did.
But he was the artist. He used paint, but
different kind of paint.
yeah.
And
his building is still there.
And this Steve Owens, a football star.
Yeah, he was the Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. He's got the Heisman right there. Yeah. And of course we know who these are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it.
And this is the guy you asked us about. It was on.
Oh yeah.
Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
On Matlock.
That's right. Yeah. That girl at the hotel, she actually did some stage work with him.
He's Peoria Indian.
Oh, is he? Okay.
His dad was a chief. I've got pictures of his grandpa and my grandpa.
And who's this?
Dr. Calegno. He's the sculptor that did all the work at NEO. He did the famous Heisman Trophy thing there over there at the park.
Okay. And this guy looks familiar.
David Osborne is the pianist to the presidents. He's played for every president. Look him up on
Is he still around?
Yes, he plays in Vegas all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's with more than 18 years at Caesar's Palace in the Bellagio.
Wow. You know all this pretty well. You need to be a tour guide.
We help do this.
Oh, okay.
Bill Hudson here was a Miami High School band drummer, but his mother was a history teacher. She was my history teacher when I was a sophomore, and he was into dancing. And so he went to New York and boom, you can read what he did.
And then Carol Littleton.
Carol Littleton is the film editor I told you about that did E.T.
Oh, that's her. Okay.
She and I were in high school band together.
Wow. So she's still around,
Yes,
kicking,
she is.
doing stuff too, huh?
She just lost her husband. Her husband was head of the Oscars for years.
Oh.
She's got 2 Oscars. I mean, that's how big she is.
Wow.
She did.
Where's she live?
California.
California?
She did Body Heat, Silverado. I can't think of all the movies she's done. Yeah.
And then Charles Wayne Tinker Owens.
Yeah, that's Steve Owens' little brother.
Basketball? Football?
He's football.
All right.
He did basketball. He's better, you know. He was a great runner too.
All right. Thank you. Here we go. Cassie Gaines. We're gonna debunk the Cassie Gaines name is on the jacket there. So, and this is in the museum, and this was donated by Karina. This is Cassie's. No?
Loaned.
Loaned. Okay, loaned by Karina, and so this is really a great display. Here, yes. Thanks, man.
Yeah. And then everything else is donated by friends or just people over the years.
So this was actually stage stuff that
And you can actually see her wear the scarf dress in this picture and the leather dress in that picture there.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is cool.
And then that poster in the corner there is one of our most recent acquisitions. And I believe it's probably one of the first ones Steve was in because it's from 66. Or 76, sorry.
All right.
No, that was.
And then that's his suitcase that was painted by a local artist, and he took it everywhere from his early band.
Yeah, there's that suitcase.
And what's this?
We put Steve in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 5 years ago. And Artimus Pyle was going to come and play for us, but something come up where he couldn't make it.
Yep.
So he sent us a autographed drumhead to put in the museum.
You know, I did recognize that as Artemis's art. He's a very artful guy.
He came back here and played 4 or 5 gigs with us.
Yeah, John. knows
Did he?
me well.
The guy's really great about
no,
that stuff.
well,
But I mean, you know.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So this is Moose, John Moss, and he's good buddies with my friend Joe Crimp, and of course Steve Gaines and Crawdad. You know, he was the man. And what we got here?
This is the album that they put out after Steve died. It's called One in the Sun. But it was actually recorded in Leon Russell's studio, half of it in Leon Russell's studio in Tulsa, and the other half was done at Capricorn Records in Macon.
Okay.
And like Chip Miller from Jacksonville played congas on it. And we got to use all the Allman Brother equipment because they were coming in that night, so everything was tweaked in. We did the whole one side in 3 hours. No one take on everything, because we were playing those songs every night.
Wow.
You know, we were playing down the street at Grant's Lounge where everybody played when they come and make it.
Okay.
People come in and jam, Allman Brothers, everybody. Got to jam with Chuck LaVille in there. And
Wow. How cool is that? And what was this? What do we have here?
I'm not sure.
What'd you say that was there, Bob?
That's his MCA, the gold record. Cassie Gaines compliments the sale of more than 1 million copies of MCA records, gold and platinum.
And how cool is this to have you guys sitting here and describing this stuff? You know, people that actually knew Steve Gaines.
You remember the American Legion we told you was upstairs? We took you by that building.
Yeah.
This is part of the floor. They come in, it had a fire, and they saved some of the floor and they threw it out, so we saved it and we put that on there. If you danced on this floor between 1920 and 2018, if you was at the American Legion, you danced on this floor.
I'll be darned. How
Old
cool.
Timmy Thomas found about 6 of these in a drugstore in Joplin. Got them for less than $1 a piece.
Wow.
We're playing the music from this tonight. You know, the
Did Annie get it to you?
And you were describing that there, Bob. What was that?
This is at the top is the 245s made by the Magic Kitchen.
Oh, okay. This is you guys' stuff.
Yeah. And then this is the album that we took from the cellar door out to RCA Records in Hollywood. I was telling you about.
Those bands were unbelievable. They sounded like the record. I remember we did Got to Get You Into My Life at Memorial Hall, the curtain opened, that's the Beatles song with the horns and everything. It sounded just like the Beatles.
Yeah, it did. They were kidding.
On this album, they had I Know Little, which I was the first drummer to ever play. He wrote that in '69.
He did.
I Know Little. And what else? You Got That Right. I was over at his house in Orange Park one day, and he had his acoustic out by this big old tree in the yard.
Really?
He goes, I got a new song, I want to play it for you. So he played You Got That Right on his acoustic before I ever heard it on the record.
My God.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
anyway.
I can imagine the kicker.
But yeah.
I mean, nobody knows this stuff.
Ain't no Good Life, we did in Crawdad. He wrote that when he was in Michigan. We all went up there, me and Ace and Ronnie Brooks and Terry Thomas drove up there, and he was writing Ain't No Good Life, and we jammed it at his apartment.
So were you guys like playing those songs in Crawdad?
Yeah.
And that was like a staple song for you everywhere you went?
Not really, no.
No, what was the reaction?
We knew a million songs, you know. Those bands, they had.
But those were
we
your
had 300
originals.
songs. Yeah, but back then, originals didn't really do much for you.
Oh, okay.
You know, in fact, we went to California, and this guy that produced this album brought us out there, and we had to play these places that they just wanted disco. And I thought, no way, or is this Okie band going to ever play any disco? Well, we ended up playing disco.
Really?
Well, you had to, if you wanted to gig and you wanted to survive, but you'd mix in your originals.
You do what you have to do, yeah.
Yeah, and we brought that back here and played all around here, playing Isley Brothers and Get Down Tonight and everything else, but we'd slip in our stuff, you know. If you had Gaines, Samuel Test to it, you had a band.
Yeah.
He was like the man. You knew he was going to be special someday. Everybody knew that. He was like the Pied Piper. Golly, man, he was just a special talent.
And then who was it that he asked and he said,
Do I sound good enough to practice or to audition for Skinnard?
I never heard that one.
Who was it? Was that you, Sammy?
You and Gates came to my house after.
Well, that's hard for me to believe, because no offense against Skinnard, I love Skinnard, and they got their own thing, but Crawdad, the musicianship in Crawdad and the songs we were doing, they couldn't even play.
Right.
Because Steve was so broad spectrum of music, jazz fusion, you name it, he just did it all, because he could sing it all.
What was the reception of the audience to the music, the original, like, I Know a Little? And
Oh, everybody liked it, yeah.
yeah?
Oh,
I mean, that's like some amazing licks and things that, is so fast.
We went to Memphis and auditioned in the band shell in Memphis, because Cassie got us a gig, she was going to school there. And it's just where Elvis was discovered, same place. And we played, sure enough, a Cadillac guy pulled up in his Cadillac, took us down and signed us up a contract with Sam Phillips.
Oh,
recording.
wow.
Yeah, discovered Elvis.
Yeah.
We go in, we did an album down, we moved down there. This was back in, 70. We opened up for ZZ Top down there.
Oh my
heard of
God.
them.
Right.
I never had no beards. But we were doing an album, and Jerry Phillips, Sam's son, was our engineer. You're down there, you got Elvis's gold records.
That stuff, nobody knows that stuff.
No, see, Gary, I saw an interview where I thought Gaines was in a lounge act and hollered.
Right, yeah, oh yeah.
No, Gaines was doing big shit before Skinner, Leon Russ Studio, Capricorn Records.
Well, they found out
he was
real
more than a lounge player. He never played a Holiday Inn that I know of.
Well, they found out real fast when they took him up on stage and he took that slide out.
I can't believe Gary even said that.
Were you there when he?
Yeah, I was in Kansas City when he auditioned.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome.
Let's go back and talk about when you first met Steve. How old were you?
I was probably 17.
Yeah.
How old was when I joined Pink Peach Month?
17, you were driving.
Yeah, 7. We were still in high school.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I
Did you-
lived in Joplin.
Oh, okay.
I
So
came down here and joined up with the Pink Peach Mob, which was Bobby Poole's brothers. Great band. But our main competition was Sammy and Gaines. That's who we went to see when we wanted to see somebody good. Sanders, the drummer. I was a drummer back then. I was a drummer with Gaines for 5 years. I was the first drummer ever playing a little. But anyway, we'd always go see Sammy and Jerry Sanders, and who else did you ever have? Oh, Withrow, yeah. Of course, I remember seeing with Johnny Burroughs too, but they were the guys we went to see because they sounded great, just like the record. And that drummer, it was Gaines' best friend, played drums. I think he's dead now, but I played drums and I went there in awe of him.
So at 17, and were you about the same age as Steve?
I'm the same exact age.
What was he doing at the time? Was he pretty well accomplished already?
Yeah, I'd say he was, but he was still in high school like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Just he was working for his dad at Cement Company, wasn't he? I come.
Well, you're not no slouch yourself.
Well, I used to be better. When what you don't use, you lose. But when I was playing 4, 5, 6 nights a week, I was on top of my game.
Well, how did you steal him away from these guys here?
Steal him away from.
Well, the band, the Magic Kitchen band, kind of just folded, and then they started up with their.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it went from there because we went to California.
We were before Magic Kitchen, wasn't Man Alive, wasn't it?
No.
Man Alive was, Gaines was going to Pittsburgh State.
Yeah.
His first year, so that'd be 69.
Well, Magic Kitchen was 67, 68.
Okay, then Man Alive, and that's back when bands, we lived together, me and Steve and the rest of the band.
Oh yeah? Where were you
He was
staying?
going to school in Pittsburgh, Kansas at Pitt State, and then we all folded up and moved out to Gary Clark's house in the mountains in Colorado. It was beautiful out there. We had a whole house, big garage.
Well, you guys were getting around. You weren't
We
just
all lived together.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
back when
but
bands lived together. Then we went to California and lived together. Then we came back to Colorado and lived together. Then we went to Memphis and got a house down there. We ate the same food every night.
so it wasn't like you were hanging out here in Oklahoma or anything. You were traveling around.
Well, we just played mostly proms and stuff, didn't we, back then?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
high school
Memorial
gigs.
Hall, we used to do Memorial Hall.
Yeah.
And the parade.
We learned that we could
Yeah.
rent this hall in Joplin and throw a gig,
Yeah.
make money at it. And,
Yeah, we'd fill it up.
yeah.
And-
Well, the Pink Peach Mob, they won 2 battle bands in Tulsa at the state fair.
Yeah.
It was a show band. I mean, they put on a show. It was the first light show ever around here. Hop had it. Overhead projectors, movie projectors, strobe lights. People never seen that stuff around here because he went to California and saw it firsthand, brought it back here. But we had guys that played in the band like Jerry Carpenter and Malachi. They were characters.
They
and
were.
Jim and Dee.
Yeah,
they were showmen.
Yeah, they were
I mean,
showmen.
They put on a
They
show.
were entertainers, that's what
Yeah,
it was.
entertainers. And
Joplin
we
used to
played
have-
good too, but not as good as Sammy and them. But
You remember the Battle of the Bands on Main Street in Joplin, John?
Oh,
They had
yeah.
Pink Peach Mob on one end, Cellar Door on the other. The crowd would go from one to this one, and then they'd go back.
my dad actually had a video.
It was
8
great.
millimeter.
Oh, you got a video of that?
Well, yeah, I don't know what it is. You
And
can
there was
do it.
hundreds of people there, and they just following each band back and forth.
Can you remember your first real gig with Crawdad?
With Crawdad?
Yeah, as Crawdad.
Gosh, first one with Crawdad. I know the first ones was the first bands I was in, but Crawdad, it could have been anything. Could have been the ranch or,
Probably,
You know,
yeah. That was the hot spot. That's where you were playing probably a lot. The ranch was
I
up.
mean, Crawdad played a lot of local.
And how long were you together before he went up on stage and
Couple years.
tried out? A couple years? And when you heard Steve was going to try out, I mean, I guess you kind of figured now that Cassie was going around.
Well, we're
back
going around
up
fast. We didn't have
yeah.
cell phones back then. Somehow we had 50, 60, 75 people from Miami that went up there, just knew that he was going to get to sit in with them.
Did he tell you to say, hey, Moose, man, I'm getting ready to.
No, he never told me. I
He didn't
just
tell
found
you?
out through the grapevine.
Because he probably didn't want to tell you.
I don't know. We had our last gig. He said he was torn between going with
Right.
Skinnard because he had a killer band. I mean, that band, that bass player and that keyboard player and Brooksy. I'm not speaking for myself. I was hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
I played drums with Gaines forever, and then all of a sudden he wants me to play guitar with him. He's never needed 2 guitars in his life. You know, he's like, why me? Yeah, I think he needed my voice more than he needed my guitar
Yeah.
playing. But I was glad because I learned a lot from him in those 2 years. But I felt like I was the weak link in that band because everybody was so advanced on their instrument. Steve and the bass player and the keyboard player, they were way ahead of where I was. I was a blues player, pretty much, you know.
Well, I've heard you.
Country rock player.
I
Yeah.
think you were pretty daggone good, you
When
know.
I went to Florida, I learned to play. You know, with Slowpoke, we had a rhythm guitar player, so all I did was play lead on our.
Yeah.
So and you know who's the place I took?
Oh.
Randall Hall.
Randall Hall, that's right, because he went and played with, Joe told me, Joe tells me, Griff, I told you that 3 times, you know.
Yeah,
I
well,
said,
Randall played in the first tribute band with Ed King.
Yeah,
That
right.
was a good tribute band. That was the first one. And,
Well,
that
so
was a
when
good
you
friend.
found out Steve was going to go be a part of Lynyrd Skynyrd, what was your thoughts then? Were you kind of like happy for him, but at
I
the
was
same
happy,
time?
but I knew it was going to, because we had something going. We were doing stuff, this thing at Leon Russell's and
Right.
it was Capricorn, and then we'd also been down to visit Butch Stone, who was managing Black Oak, Arkansas. So it was starting to happen, and bigger things, and then that took.
Yeah, it's
He got to do what he always wanted to do. and
Right.
That's the most important thing. He got to play on that big stage all over the world.
He did.
And he got to, man.
Did you ever, and I asked these guys the same question, did he ever invite you to go, like watch Skinnard and him up on stage? Did you get to see him?
Oh, yeah. They used to come out when I lived in Fernandina. Steve and Gary and Alan and Artimus, they'd all come out and jam with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and in
Okay.
Jacksonville, we played in Jacksonville, they'd all come out and sit in and jam.
So you got to get in with some of that a little bit. That was cool.
Yeah, Gary's been Gary, good. He got to be pretty close. He didn't recognize me if he came in the door. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. We're not good friends.
Right.
But they did that.
Well, the first time you heard Steve.
I got a great story.
Okay, yeah, hit me with it. We like great stories.
I lived in Fernandina, which is north of Jacksonville, Little Island. Gaines was playing the 3rd day of the new tour, right? I think this is correct. St. Petersburg Coliseum, whatever it was huge. He didn't know I was coming. Well, we drove from there. It's all the way across the state. Me and my wife, Val, and Danny Pine. Joe knows Danny Pine, our roadie from Slowpoke. And the window was down on the one side, and it rained harder than you've ever seen in your life.
Oh my God!
The whole way. Okay, Steve didn't know I was coming. We get out of that little Volkswagen. We're walking up the Coliseum. A big black limo pulls up. Guess who gets out? Steve.
Steve. Oh, okay.
We see each other. We all go in at the same time. He didn't even know I was coming. You know, that's the first night I ever met Ronnie. But I've met all the other guys, and I was down in the tuning room with him, you know, and Ronnie was standing on the staircase, and Steve introduced me to him. But that's the gig where they were doing all the new songs off the new album.
Oh,
you got that right.
yes.
Steve was out front. I Know a Little. You got, you know, all of them off that album. And it was 3 days after, later, they crashed.
Oh my God, yeah.
Plane crashed. And I think that was the third gig of the new tour coming up from southern Florida. And then I'm pretty sure I'd have to look. They got the schedule in that record over there, if it's still in it. But they have the, where they're playing and stuff. But yeah.
That had to be really freaky to
fake.
see. Yeah, I mean,
I got to see that show. We all went to the motel afterwards. And I was in the room with Cassie, and she's going, I am not getting on that plane.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. And I thought, oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's, I'd rather ride an equipment truck, is what she told me. And I'll go to hell if that didn't.
And that had to be like surreal whenever you heard those songs on the radio for the first time. You probably even remember where you were the first time you heard, like, you know, I Know a Little and, you know, stuff like that.
Well, I think I heard the album before everybody with Joe at Leon's house.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think we were all over there, and he brought a copy.
So when was it that you went and hooked up with Joe? I know Randall left the band.
Right, and then of course.
How long after was it the crash that happened?
Oh, a couple of years anyway.
A couple years?
Yeah. Crashed in 77. I'm bad with years, but I lived down there for a bunch of years.
And Joe told me
what was the question you just asked me?
how long it was after the crash that you hooked up with Joe. With
how I got to Florida.
Yeah.
Well, Leon, I guess Joe talked to Steve and asked Steve if he knew any guitar players, and they called me, and I went down there and auditioned in Fernandina and got the job, and then I moved down there.
Yeah, Joe's told me that story a bunch of times, but I wanted to get it here on camera, you know, because, you know, it's so great, you know. I mean, for him, that was a blessing.
Well, Slowpoke was.
They were great.
They were an entertainment. They had two guys, brothers, that sang. Great harmony. They had great voices.
And it was a big band.
Yeah, a big band. Then they had Robbie Crocker on piano. That was their act for I don't know how long before I got there. Before Randall's played with them. So they had an act, just the two of them and the piano. Well, then they got a band, and we just started doing a whole bunch of original music, all kinds of stuff. And we got the same manager that managed Henry Paul.
Oh, okay.
Alter.
Yeah, because you guys played with those guys.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we opened up for them a lot. In fact, Barry was at my house, Barry Rapp. And our manager called, and he said, do you know any keyboard players? Henry Paul was looking for one. Barry was sitting right there. I said, well, yeah,
here's one right here.
Down there. He got the gig. A month later, he's opened up for Rolling Stones. I'm like, what do I get out of this? And then I saw an interview with him and Kurt Towns, or whatever the band he plays in down there. And Barry said, yeah, I was hanging out with a band in Slowpoke. Was how I got the gig with Henry Paul. He didn't mention my name. We ran around together in Joplin, played in bands together. He didn't even mention my name.
Yeah, he's still running around there in Jacksonville. He's doing pretty good.
What's that, Street Preacher?
Well, he does sometimes.
Yeah.
Kurt Town Band, I think, is he's messed with them, and
bands.
he's done.
Yeah, Barry's done
very.
well.
Yeah, he still stays busy.
Yeah.
But
Barry and I got beat up together one time. These guys jumped us, 5 guys, and knocked us silly and put us in the hospital.
Well, that's just Southern rock right there.
We lived in Joplin. Yeah. But I couldn't believe he didn't mention my name when he said a band hanging out with Slowpoke, a band in Fernandina. No. at my house.
What did you think of when you saw Steve out there, playing in Nebworth?
Oh, that was cool.
That had to be.
I like the one from California where all the girls are all lined up
Oh,
front, about 10 rows deep, nothing but girls.
Oh my God! And he's living the dream right there,
goodness,
huh?
Yeah.
But Steve and I was talking to these guys, and they said, he wasn't like those Skinnard boys. I mean, he was a pretty, calm guy and reserved. He didn't really, wasn't a wild man.
No, he was always being funny.
Pretty dedicated to his wife, and never messed around,
No, I mean, he smoked a little herb. I'm sure once he got with them, he probably did a lot.
Well, yeah, because Craig Reed told me, he said the first day he met Steve, he said that they smoked about a lid worth of marijuana, and Steve didn't even care. He said his first show, and he said he jumped right out on stage. It didn't even bother him.
No, he was a Rasta man for
There
sure.
was a lot of farmers around here back in the day.
Yeah, he was.
So when he was touring around with Skinner, did he stay in touch with you, call you, and say?
I'd go over and see him once in a while. Like I said, at the time he played and got that right for me, it's acoustic out in the side of the yard. But he basically just came over and jammed. He was always gone, and I was playing.
Now those parts on that, you got that right, all the vocals and stuff. He came up with all those?
I'm sure. That sounds.
And then, I mean, it's a duet.
Well, it is, and it says on the credits that Ronnie helped write it. I helped write a song on that one album with Steve. Okay, I got credit, like my name's right next to his for the writer. I wrote one line in that song. We were in his attic in Seneca, and he was writing this, talking about love. And when it jumps up, he goes, I need something right there. I go, talking about love. Ended up being the title, and
yeah, you should have jumped in on some royalties on that.
Yeah, I never got a penny from that album. They're still selling it.
Yeah.
Not a penny. There's 2 songs I wrote on there. One was Ronnie Brooks, and somebody is making money or made money off of it. I don't have a lawyer to go check it out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to know that you were a part of it, but still.
It's a shame we never even got studio time.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, the people that played on the Gap Band, and this guy from Louisiana, he died like last year. Jerry Drummondville played sax. They all got paid, and I'm sure the studio got paid, but the band Crawdad never got a penny. And there's.
But Crawdad, that's a very popular name. When you talk about Skinnard and Steve Gaines and everybody's like, yeah, Crawdad,
Well, yeah, Crawdad, they put out those CDs of Crawdad Live. Those are recorded on a cassette deck with a couple of mics sitting out there.
Wow.
No mixing board, no nothing.
Like where
they
at?
Sound great. At a bar.
Really?
All of them are at a bar, yeah. And they sound great. They've had them enhanced or, made them where they sound as good as possible. But it's just amazing that,
So you knew Steve early on. You said you were about 17 when you met him. Was he playing slide then already?
I remember him playing slide back then.
So I guess he started doing it, and then you were watching him actually learn how to do that.
Making
You were
his own slides.
God,
I
he
bring a
was
picture
good.
up here. I had a picture of me and Steve and Cassie, and me on my big black double bass set of drums, and Steve with his Marshall stack.
Oh, I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Who needs a Marshall stack? I know. I mean, he used to play through a Marshall stack, and I played drums, and they didn't like the drums back then. And the bass player, he had 2 Standell bass amps, and Clark Connell had 2 Leslies beefed up, and PA couldn't handle it, never could hear the vocals. But I used marching sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I had no mics, and I hit hard.
Yeah, you had to make it.
I was a very physical drummer.
You had to
Like
be.
John Bonham or something, but I broke cymbals, heads, and you ask Joe, the old Speed King, Ludwig Speed King pedal.
Yeah.
They have these little strap comes out, it's made out of pot metal. Well, you break those once in a while, so you keep spares. I actually broke the pedal board in half. Kicking that thing. I don't know anybody's ever done that. If there is one.
Well, you didn't have to worry about breaking the stick, though.
No. You know what? I went to an Allman Brothers rehearsal in Macon we just walked in. They were rehearsing because we saw them unloading equipment a few hours earlier. And we asked this long-haired hippie, "What's going on?" They were, "Oh, brother, rehearsal." They didn't even look at us. We went, "Oh, ding." So we come back, walk in, sit down. They took a break. We went up and talked to them all on stage. And I talked to the drummer, and he showed me his sticks for those Martian sticks. He says because they bounce easier.
Oh,
you don't have to put any
okay.
force, you just drop them down.
Oh, so it's less
Right
work.
back. Yeah, I was, wow, okay. You know, J-Mo was a jazz drummer, though. Butch might not have used big sticks, but I was talking to J-Mo. But it's pretty neat, got to go into Allman Brother rehearsal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a little bit of French benefits there, huh?
Yeah.
What would you say Steve's go-to in Crawdad? What would you say his go-to guitar was?
Oh, well, he'd had that Les Paul for a long time, and he got that Fender Super, and that Strat he got from that preacher guy here in town. It just popped.
Oh, it came from a guy here in town?
Yeah, preacher. Yeah, he had that Les Paul for years and years and years and years. Then he got that Strat, and his whole playing changed to that, you know.
Yeah, it had that Steve Gaines sound.
Yeah, it's just that popping Strat thing, you know. And he played with that Super Reverb with that Strat. I didn't see him use his Lester with that amp much, but.
And you guys said that he got that Strat.
I think John went down, you went with him to pick up the
Les Paul.
Les Paul, yeah.
And the Marshall was in Houston.
And it was basically because Ed King was playing a Strat, and he had to take that part.
Well, yeah, but he had that Strat long before ever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Playing with Skinnard. No.
So he already had it, you know, the instrument and everything to replace him with. And what's ironic is, and Ed King, you know, I don't think he ever met Steve, but he really loved that he took his place. You could tell, you know, he was like proud that somebody that took his place was as accomplished as he was.
Yeah.
And the other thing he always said was he's got the same exact birthday, the same age.
And my grandson's birthday's today, too.
Oh, really? Is it
Yeah.
really?
And his dad's name's Richard Earl, because Steve's name was Stephen Earl. I wanted to name him Earl after Steve. You know, Earl's kind of a squirrely name these days. It's a old-timey name. You know, I thought my son would hate me for it, but he didn't. Because I teased Steve. I'd always call him Earl, because I knew he didn't like it.
You know? He did, he really did.
Yeah, for sure. And Marcano, his real name's Harold.
Yes, it is.
All of them people change their name from Harold or Chip, Mark, or Rusty.
Well, the reason Steve didn't like Earl is because in Miami there was a homosexual named Earl.
Oh, no.
And so everybody, if you wanted to insult somebody, you call him an Earl.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gaines knew that. We found out his name was Earl, of course.
No wonder he didn't like it.
You know, Ronnie Van Zant had a nickname, Wicker.
For Gaines?
No, it was Ronnie Van Zant's nickname, and only his close friends would call him Wicker. And it was always a big secret, and nobody would want to, you know, tell where it came from. And then I asked Craig Reed about it, and he said, well, what that was, he said there was a guy named Van Wicker in high school, and he was kind of like a femme guy, you know. And he said that they used to tease Ronnie because he said, "Hey, Van Zant, Van Wicker."
Get your ass whipped. Right.
That's what they said. That only his close friends could call him.
Yeah, real close.
We did anyway.
Let's talk about Cassie a little bit. When you started going over to Steve's house, and I guess you met her about the same time, huh? So she kind of like, what was she up to at the time? Anything musically?
Just going to school. My association with Cassie is when she started singing with Man Alive.
Okay.
And like she was out in Colorado with us, and Pittsburgh, and then we went to Memphis and lived down there. She was with us, living in the same house the whole time, sweetest gal in the world. Well, I don't know if I should tell this story or not.
Oh, go ahead.
Everybody in the band had decided, even Steve, that we wanted to do it without a girl singer. And we got out of the van one night after a gig, and we were supposed to tell her. Well, we sat out there and sat out there and sat out there. Nobody ever said a word. Steve's not going to. That's his sister.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up saying what everybody told me they felt about it, and it ended up me being the one to fire.
Oh, so you had to be the bearer of the bad
I was
news.
the bad guy. And actually, I think LaRue, Cassie's mom, I think she had it in for me after that.
Really?
I mean, that's the vibe I got. She just didn't treat me the same, you know? And I was just saying what everybody else wanted to say but couldn't.
But what did Cassie, how did she feel the same way?
She went to Memphis and got in down there and met JoJo and was in the cast of Hair. That makes me laugh every time. You know, Bob told me that him and Bud and LaRue went down there.
She did
the news.
Yeah, she was topless. Yeah. Were you guys, were you there for any of it?
No, this is before we moved down there.
Yeah, because I thought I'd heard a story, something about Steve saw her up there on stage like that and everything.
I
But
don't think he went down there. He
No?
might have.
Bobby's the one that told us about it.
Yeah, Bob's told me. No, I think we were playing that whole time.
here's another thing I wanted to ask you too, was because I heard Bob Gaines played drums.
Good drummer.
Was he a pretty good drummer?
Well, for somebody that never practiced, he was a natural. Just like Steve, but he never practiced like Steve did. You know, and he actually got really good. I had him in a band coming out of Jacksonville. It was me and Steve Grisham, who went with the Outlaws and Henry Paul band. He's from here, but
yeah.
Anyway, but it was him in the band, Terry Thomas, and Robbie Crocker, the piano player from Slowpoke. Bob Gaines got to be a good drummer. We were doing really hard songs, and we played all over the same place in Florida we always did. Then we came up here and played a bunch of gigs. We opened up for Kenny Loggins, and I've got tapes of Bob playing with us. I always thought when I look back he was petrified, but on tape it sounds like he's playing it perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, and then he got a gig with playing a bunch of big shows with one of them Van Zandt cousins.
Yeah, I mean, told us, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, he did. He went on and played a bunch of big shows. I can't remember. Mark Lockhart probably knows all about it. But he knows everything about it.
Well, there was a rumor going around, and I'm not going to say who said it because it doesn't matter, but when they're right around the time that when they were doing the tour when the plane crashed, and they were talking about getting rid of Artimus or something, and Bob Gaines replacing him. Could you see something like that happen? No. Joe says the same thing.
But I did hear that Ronnie Brooks might have got the gig.
Oh,
Played
okay.
Crawdad. He was a great drummer.
Oh, he
Wasn't
was.
really a rock drummer like Skinnard needed, like Artimus, you know, hit him hard and bash him kind of guy. But Brooks could play anything, jazz, whatever.
So you kind of heard something similar to that about
I heard
Artie?
that they were thinking about getting a different drummer, and Ronnie Brooks was a candidate. That's all I remember about it.
Yeah.
Which would have been fine. He could have done it.
It's kind of vague, and we'll probably never know, you know, but, and now with the Slowpoke, and you went down, you were together a couple years, you said?
More than that.
More than that?
Yeah, closer to 5 probably.
Now that band was going somewhere.
Yeah.
And what do you think happened?
We opened up for all kinds of, we did Savannah Civic Center with Jimmy Buffett. It was 13,000 people there. That's just to mention a bunch of, you know, we did a festival in Miami, JJKL, 3 days of big time.
Yeah.
Leon was the master of ceremonies, but when Slowpoke played, he got up on stage and played tambourine with Slowpoke. Leon.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's cool. Great.
Yeah.
I actually, I was a kid back then, probably, around 16 years old or something, and I heard the Slowpoke, I mean, there was a lot of places, they had like, these things in Tampa and stuff like that, and you would see them.
Colleges and stuff.
Yeah, so,
We did a lot of shows at Papa Joe's. That's where Henry Paul was first getting started. We opened up for a lot of big bands in there, and Henry Paul was one we did a lot with because we had the same manager, so they booked us up in front of them. It was a big club in Tampa.
It's something that's kind of sad to talk about is the plane crash, and it's been a long time, and for a long time that was like something nobody even wanted to mention because it was so tragic. And but I imagine that was pretty devastating to all you guys when that
Me
happened.
and Joe were playing with Slowpoke at Dino's on the north side of Jacksonville. We got the news.
So
Yeah.
we go out, and Joe gets on the phone and calls the hospital in that town and tells them he's Bobby Gaines.
Yeah.
They believed him and told him that Steve and Cassie had passed. That's how we found out on a payphone out in front of this club in a shopping center. And we just, that was it. And
Yeah.
we just shut down and went back to Fernandina, you know, and Bob, he was devastated.
Because Joe was at Lakeland, and he got a call that you guys had a gig going on, and I guess that was in Fernandino or something. He actually, I think he flew up there or something to get back soon enough in time, and
I
then,
don't know.
yeah, he,
I just know where we were playing the night that happened. It was me and Joe, because Joe got on the payphone, you know, to put money in.
and then you guys, of course, you had the funeral and all of that stuff, and you guys showed me where that was,
Well,
yeah.
I was living in Florida. I didn't get to make it back here for the actual funeral service. But I was a day or two behind. They had a thing going on at Steve's house. A bunch of people were there. I showed up for that, but I couldn't get back here in time for the service.
So then after, you know, I guess that kind of went away, and then you were still with Slowpoke. What happened with Slowpoke that you guys disbanded?
Well, first of all, we had 7 guys in the band, 2 roadies. Hard to make any money. We're playing in Mobile one night, and I go back to the motel room, get in bed. A couple of us there. The rest of them all went down to a what do you call it? Gentleman's club.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And next thing later, pounding on the door. Hey, the guys are down there, and the bouncers are beating them up. And these are big boys.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
300-pounders.
Yeah.
And they fight a lot. They were just 2 brothers. And our whole crew was tough. Anyway, these bouncers were on top of them. And they wanted us to go down there and help them. Hi.
Now, yeah.
Now, well, anyway, to make a long story short, the cops finally came, and they were going, oh, thank God the cops are here. Well, the cops started beating their asses. Took them to jail.
Oh, my God.
Took all our pay to get them out. And next gig was in Chattanooga. And it was like...
You guys were in the car together, and a little something broke out, didn't
Well,
it?
I just decided, I was having my second child down there, and I wasn't making enough money. And I thought it might be a time for me to, you know, do something else. I've been with them a long time, and it got to a point where we weren't doing much better. You know, I don't know. It's kind of stupid, but I like different kind of music in a way than what they did. Even though they were the most fun band I ever played in, we played gigs where they entertained the crowd, and we only had to play 3 or 4 songs the whole night because they had everybody laughing, and you know, it was a fun band.
Yeah.
I mean, people love that band. And now that I look back, I probably should have stayed with them. We probably would have done something.
Well, there's a lot of people in that band, and when you're making the split, it's kind of hard to make money when you got that many people,
yeah.
you know?
You got a couple of kids, and it's just, I don't know.
And-
I thought I'd give it my best shot.
But had the plane not crashed, Ronnie was going to, you know, get you guys probably, you know, noticed.
That's what Joe says. I never heard that.
Yeah, Joe's told me that.
Well,
you
Joe
know?
would know because he hangs with that group.
Yeah.
You know, they went to school all together, you know, and Gary and Joe had their horses together, and, you know.
But, you know, I mean, who knows what would have happened, you know? You guys, you know, that rock and roll scene, you know, I mean, you guys are doing good. All you guys seem to be doing pretty good. You know, so you gotta, you know, I guess think about maybe some bad things could have happened too, but it would have been nice to, you know, to have hear some stuff on the radio.
Yeah, and Steve
I've got
respected these guys. He would have come
Oh,
back.
yeah.
You know, and they were going to be involved in some of his music, I guarantee you. They would be.
Well, you guys probably would have been gigging together and stuff, you know, I'm sure if Ronnie could have made something happen for, you know, Slowpoke.
I never felt that I was good enough to play with Steve. I mean, I did it because he wanted me to, and I did it at 110%, you know, but he was like God to me, and I couldn't hold his guitar pick. You know, I can play, I'm pretty good,
but he was something else. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not even his league, you know, and for me to play guitar with him was just like a mind blower.
Yeah.
You know, I just couldn't believe it that I did it.
Well, everybody brings a little something to the plate,
Yeah.
you know.
Now, if you talk to other people, they'd say, you know, I've had people say, oh, man, you did great and all this.
He did.
Well, even Steve wanted to know, you know, he asked you, he even wanted to know, you know, hey, am I good enough, you know, to play with Lynyrd Skynyrd?
Well, that's ridiculous.
Nobody thinks, you know, that they're good enough. So.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I can't believe you said that.
So what are you guys up to today, these days, starting with you, John? What you up
I've
to?
been sick for 2 or 3 months now.
Yeah.
And I kind of got to the point where I was only playing like 2 or 3 times a year because I didn't want to go out and play bars and stay out late. I did that my whole life. I'm basically semi-retired, you know, from playing, and I just want to be comfortable at my age, so I have a day job.
And old Joe, he's still beating the. He's got that band Vinyl, and I haven't talked to Joe in a couple months, but I really want to go watch those guys play. You know, and they really got a new guitar player singer, and they're doing really well.
That's great. Yeah, all my people I played with around here that I used to play with, they're all older than me, and they don't even want to haul their junk around anymore. You know?
Yeah.
We play special things. We just played a benefit for a friend of ours that had cancer. We've done that thing for Route 66, thing at the Coleman and Steve's.
Yeah, Steve's 70th birthday. That's a really good video. John was playing hot on the stage.
Yeah, we had John Seaberg from Crawdad, and Mark Marcano played Man Alive with Steve and I.
Good music.
The only thing we didn't do was get Sammy up, which was one of my regrets, because he's
I hear he's phenomenal.
He's great. But, all he had to say was, "Moose, you stupid son of a bitch." I was headstrong with Steve's songs, you know, off the album, Son.
Yeah.
And Seaberg played on the album, you know, so that was no brainer because he played on the whole thing, you know, and then. You know, we had a different drummer. Miles had a hard time. He wasn't no Brooksy. But we're all getting up in age and not playing very much. So when you go do something like this, even though you have 4 or 5 practices before that, when you get on stage, it all turns into a nightmare. That rock star thing we did,
Yeah.
We practiced that, and we had a sound check. Sound check took 2 hours.
Oh my God.
I was playing through a Marshall and my Fender. It had a great tone. God, this is going to be great.
Yeah, you and Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny and Annie and Mark. Miles. Well, Miles butchered everything. He got backwards on the beat. I hope he never sees it. He knows it too, though. You know, after practice all the time, he got totally backwards. I'd turn around and go, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, in the middle of a concert. And it just wasn't any good. And I thought, man, my guys are too old to do this anymore, and it's embarrassing. And I'm not as good as I used to be. So it's like, I used to really get down on this shit, you know, now I'm struggling. And singing too, you know, but I smoked back then. I quit smoking in January.
Good for you.
Yeah, and so I just haven't been playing very much. We did Mark Connell's birthday party, and I got a gig coming up for a class reunion in October with Annie in Levittown, which they don't need me. That guitar player they got is a monster.
Well, you got to get to feeling better, you know, get back to 100%.
I'm good right now.
Yeah, you know,
I got dizzy.
The older you get, you know, harder it is. I mean, you know, I went through something here not too long ago and about killed me. And you know, when you get older, it's rough bouncing back.
Rough, you know?
So, Bobby, what are you up to now these days, Bob?
A few years ago, before the Steve's 70th birthday, Sandy and I and Debbie Smith East and Jordan from here in the museum started Ottawa County Musicians Tribute Committee, so we can start recognizing these guys and all the good music they put up years ago. And we started with Steve, and we put him in the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame, him and Cassie both. And they'd already been put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but now we've got other people. When you go to Coleman, they have the Celebrity Park.
Yeah, you should do that. Go to the
There's
Celebrity Park.
all the people
People from Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Back in the
That's one thing about this
And this town's got so much, going on. And how about you, Sammy? What you up to these days?
Oh, I'm retired. I've been retired now. This is my 15th year, and I discovered I was made for retirement. I get to do what I want to do. I still have my recording studio in the basement. Just mastered about 70 songs I'd written in the past, and finally got them all mastered and ready to go. Not gonna go anywhere, but I got them ready if they happen to go. That's what I've been doing. I do a lot of studying.
You were, kind of like, not that anybody else was not as sharp as you, but you kind of went out and got you a steady job as a school teacher, and you did that for how many years?
40.
40 years. So you actually have a pension.
Oh yeah, I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah, these musicians, they don't get pensions,
I was telling you about how I grew up, and I've already been through the poor scene.
Yeah, so you knew.
I think Boss's lawyer, Dad was a lawyer, and they all could go home. I didn't. I was all on my own since I was 18, so I knew what it meant to be out there trying to, survive.
Right.
So when I saw the chance of what was happening, and I saw how it was going, I thought, I didn't want to be a band director. I didn't, or a music teacher, but that's the reason I'm here today, not doing anything and enjoying my life, because I don't owe any money to anybody or anything. That's all.
Are you ever like in the car and you're going down the road and you hear a Skinnard song come on and you hear Steve Gaines and you think to yourself, oh my God, what a miracle
every
that
time
was.
you hear it.
Yeah.
Because I used to, I played bass with him, I look over there and there's Steve. Or we'd be singing together,
Right.
Our faces right there, they're looking at each other.
Pretty sobering, isn't it,
Well, it's such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
That's all what we wanted to do. And to see Steve get it, I'm so glad he did. Because he deserved it. He was a really nice person.
Yeah.
A really good, solid man. A moral person. And of course, we all done some things, but he was really somebody you could look up to.
Well, they got one heck of a band up there in heaven right now, I mean, those guys, they're straightened up now, but, they're making some music, because all of them but Artimus, but they got Bob Burns up there with them, so.
Is Bob back?
Yeah, oh yeah, several years ago. So what are you guys thinking about the Lone Star thing tonight?
Well, I tell you what, that band you had last time, that Lynyrd Skynyrd tribute band from North Carolina.
Yeah, they
were exceptionally good. I was surprised they played all Grange's parts.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do.
Yeah, and that was Tuesday's Gone. They were really good Skynyrd cover.
Okay, yeah.
Was too expensive? What's the deal?
I don't know if they tried to get him and they just couldn't. Either he was already booked for this day or something.
You got to probably go a year or two. They play a lot.
Yeah,
that's Ryan King. His band, right? He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's not doing too well health-wise.
Right now he's having a hard time.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he just got in a car wreck and broke his neck. He didn't need that.
No, he didn't.
Who's that,
Ryan King, the Tuesday's Gone.
Tuesday's Gone?
Yeah.
Who's he? Which one's he?
He's a singer.
Lead singer.
Oh, yeah. He had on a shirt Gary wears a lot on concerts. That's Faith on it. You ever seen that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, well, my son sent me one. And he was wearing it that day out here, and I told him, I got a shirt just like that. Yeah, it's what Gary wore all the time. Gary was always really nice to me.
Yeah.
I went over to Alan's house one time with Bob, and, we sat around the living room and shot the shit, but I asked Alan, I said, what do you think about Steve, because and he didn't really elaborate. He's probably a little jealous.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't be? But,
well, you guys, I really appreciate you guys, and these guys here. You got something else?
On Lone Star Skynyrd because we found out when Tuesday's Gone came for the 70th birthday, they really enjoyed coming, and they really recognized Steve and Cassie. They dedicated this they worked their butt off on that show.
They all wanted to meet me for something.
Yeah.
Well, well, you're a legend, man.
Yeah.
You're a legend.
We had him in the VIP, and they all came in. And the Lone Star Skynyrd guys, they feel that same way over there today. You feel a lot of respect for Steve, and they feel really happy to be here, and we're glad they're here. And we're expecting a really good show.
Yeah, and they're
doing it right now. They weren't quite ready.
Are they using the house PA?
Yeah, they got Charlie up there.
Wow. Did they get a new PA in there?
Yeah, pretty good.
Well, you guys, thanks a lot, and thanks to you guys, Sammy, Bobby, for taking me around and showing me all those great places I didn't even know anything about. Mickey Mantle and all that's like, I had no idea, and I mean, this place is like on the map,
Steve Owens,
and then, and I was like, man, am I going to get to meet Moose, and oh yeah, he's going to come down here, and I've been bugging Joe, and Joe's going to love to see this right here, because he always talks about
You gotta
Moose.
go film the wall over there.
Okay.
Steve's
That
on.
was my best
All right.
down there.
You gotta see
That's
it.
good. I'm good.
All right, thank you guys very much. Enjoy that show tonight, and really appreciate the words and all the great stories and meeting you guys, and this is more than I could have expected. So
We appreciate you coming.
Well, I want you to know,
We wanted to
risked
recognize.
risked my life coming down here.
did you?
Well, yeah. I'm not feeling good.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you was
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, like I was in a really bad accident back in 2013, and Gene Odom, who's a security on the
Gene was
plane.
there for the last one.
Yeah, and he's the one who got me inspired. I mean, I was a Skinnard fan, but I never really, thought too much about Skinnard. But Gene, that guy's an animal, man. He was hurt pretty bad, and he said, man, you got to get up and start moving. So coming out and seeing this, probably good for you, even though it don't feel good, but you got, like we were talking about earlier, you got to keep moving, man. You got to keep moving and playing that guitar.
I haven't been moving or playing guitar either. I just haven't felt like it.
Yeah, it's rough. It's hard. But
You get to a point where you just want to start doing it again, though, so
Well,
you'll get there.
we were going to play this thing today.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
It's a good thing we didn't, because I'm not feeling very good.
yeah, go get you a nice, seat in there and enjoy it and just relax, So, all right, thank you guys. Appreciate it, and hopefully we'll get to meet again sometime, because I like this area up here. I might have to come up. And the next birthday.
Hey, well, there's going to be a 100th anniversary of Route 66 at 2029. And we'll probably have a big birthday party that year, because this whole street's going to be getting after it.
29, 26.
No, I'm sorry,
26, isn't it?
2026.
Okay.
Yes. 2 more
All right.
years, sorry. Now, Coleman Theater will be 100 years old, 2029. But 2026, which will be 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years we'll have a big,
24,
we'll probably do
25,
it. We give the Steve Gaines and people, it makes people feel good when we do this back here. People come out and really want to just, they're older people like us, but they understand it's something special. You don't always have somebody special from your town that can play that with. And these other musicians, that's what I'm trying to get them recognized.
It's so nice to see Steve, pictures of him when he was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I wonder what it's like nowadays.
He looks like us.
Yeah, old crunchy people.
Yeah.
He looked like Slick.
I had a guy tell me once, he was talking about bringing the bands in here, and he said, I want to let you know one thing. He said, I don't know who Steve was playing with before he came to Skinnard, but he said those were some damn good musicians, because he stepped on that stage and that boy was a musician. He could play.
Yeah, you guys got him ready.
Good. I said, Dad, you betcha, they were #1 dudes. They were.
Oh, the more than fair exchange, wasn't it? More than fair.
More than fair.
Okay, hey, thank you guys. And
Thank you.
yeah. All righty.
We got your dress was in the bill there.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Greg and Griff will see you next time.